Glue. Glue comes in all forms, shapes, and sizes. For centuries, it's had 1,000,001 uses. Unless you're an idiot who decides to glue his lips or other body parts together.
Excellent!
Whoa, that's a sticky situation.
Oh my god, what did I do?
And now, that'll have to be amputated. Now you have no lips or balls, and you'll have to drink through a straw or sit down to pee. Too bad. So remember, glue it, don't abuse it. This has been a public service announcement paid for by the committee to stop people from gluing their lips or other body parts together. Glue is not for use by actual gorillas or chimpanzees. And humans, don't put it in your f***ing hair.
Hey, wait a minute!
How to spot an SJW. SJWs, or social justice warriors, are everywhere these days. As such, it might be easy to confuse them with punk rockers. In this instructional video, we will provide you with easy-to-follow tips on how to identify SJWs in your community. So, you might be asking, how will I know what to look for? If you suspect you've encountered one, here are some easy-to-follow simple rules. If they have dyed hair, glasses, a laid-back attitude, and a Ramones t-shirt, then you have a punk rocker. But if they have blue hair, duck lips, thick glasses, uptight attitude, a t-shirt that reads "Meat is murder" and bangs, and if they think by rioting in the name of every big box store and big tech corporation in America is punk rock, well, they're a wokier than thou social justice warrior, fighting for whatever the people at Brand Corporation say. If they're screaming about representation and are white with blonde hair, then you've got an SJW or social justice warrior. If they say, "I love The Last Jedi's diversity," then you've probably got an employee of the Lucasfilm Story Group. If they're on Twitter more hours than they sleep per day, then you've got a social justice warrior. And finally, if someone is dressed like a lumberjack but lives 100 miles from the nearest tree, then chances are you have a writer for the latest Marvel comic, if there's still a thing by the time this video is out. Remember, nobody likes social justice warriors. Now, with these simple tips, you can help identify and avoid social justice warriors in your community.
And I need you both to know I'll carry it everywhere I go.
This is the power of math, people!
Whoa, I think I just figured something out, Beavis. This sucks.
Yeah, me.
Sheer fucking hubris.
This sucks more than anything that has ever sucked before.
The blast shield, the blast shield, and it comes down and it goes up your shield.
For the best cat litter when kitty poops, go out and get duty scoops. Coming soon, the romantic comedy breakup movie that you've all been waiting for. Harley Quinn, the Joker, in the movie that Birds of Prey director Kathy Ann didn't have the talent to make. Theirs was a romance that was hate at first sight. Trust me, no amount of therapy will ever help these two. Watch as they passively aggressively try to kill each other at every turn.
Come on, Puddin', do it!
Love truly means never having to say, "I'm sorry." Don't miss Harley Quinn and the Joker in An Affair to Dismember, the romantic comedy that you deserve. Only on HBO Max.
Monarch Radio now has a list of cancellations, delays, and closures. The U.S. State Department has declared Antarctica a no-go zone due to the recent Godzilla attacks. Tourists are advised to refrain from traveling to the continent. The penguin enclosure is now closed at the Antarctic Zoo, as is the elephant seal petting zoo. Friedtorf Nansen Junior High is closed for today, as are grades K through 4 and PS 158. Research Station Hawley, Concordia, and Outpost 31 are completely destroyed and closed for the day. So all you scientists out there, enjoy your day off. Tonight's hockey game between Science Station Maldonado and Science Station Palmer has been postponed due to a giant footprint-sized hole in the arena. And finally, traffic is backed up on the ice shelf. Expect a 1-hour delay. If you're trying to get to work, plan accordingly. We'll have more updates every hour on the hour. For the latest news and traffic, keep it right here at Monarch Radio.
All right. Let me just throw it off. Hello. How's everyone doing? Is my mic on? Good. It's on. Hopefully the mic is on. Hit the thumbs up button if you like the little intro commercials. The teasers. I had to get my makeup on and finish eating breakfast, basically, because I did not know what time Jesse Miller's stream was. So I'm like, okay, I can squeeze in a stream before or after. And if his stream starts at 2, then that means I should probably squeeze in before, because that means we're going to be streaming over there. Or at least he's going to be streaming over there all day. I'm going to try my best to stick, just pop in. It might, who knows what I'm talking about. I just... So hello. No, we got to talk about this Gina interview. Oh, that's the big main event. That's why you're all here. She dropped some bombshells. I think that it is nothing that we didn't already know, for the most part, except for a few things that I'm surprised it was as bad as it was, because I had no reason to believe that they wouldn't do some of the really, really shady things. The really, really shady things that of course she is stating they did. I don't believe that Disney would stoop so low. I mean, I don't want to believe they would, but I do. I'll squeeze into the corset. Probably not right now. Is there any in Carano? Did it? Gina's interview dropped. Let's talk about it. Okay, so I didn't put it in there. Christopher Gorey, thank you so much. Hey, Queen, happy belated. Was thawing out in Texas, aka the Good Reverend. Well, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. And I saw one come in before we went live here. I saw Mandatory Carry. Thank you so much. Hashtag keep fighting. Thank you so much. Mandatory Carry. I had to scroll back. Excellent. Also, thank you so much. Christopher Gorey. Okay, so we gotta talk. Do you guys want to talk about the SNL thing? Because I don't think the SNL thing really should have been... Like, SNL is not funny, and they're just attacking people they disagree with anymore, so I don't even want to give them any more attention. I don't know, maybe I'll talk about it after the fact, maybe we'll do a quickie reaction to what SNL did, but... Ginger Viking Jesus, thank you so much. Mr. Ben Shapiro of the Daily Wire has already offered her a job, and she's taken it, as I recall. Even Mr. Crowder offered her a job at first. You know, and that's the thing. And thank you so much, Ginger Viking Jesus.
Excellent!
SNL hasn't been funny in ages, and they're trying to cover their asses. Right, Rob? So I have Discord loaded up if you want to pop in, Rob, but I don't know if you want to. Because this shit. All right, where did I put that SNL? Here it is. 5 minutes and 40 seconds into the clip, you guys said. All right.
And now,
SNL, which hasn't been funny in like 10 years. SNL, you haven't been funny in forever, and we're gonna try. Oh, hey, Vegas. Britney Spears cold open, huh? So this is supposed to be Britney Spears having a talk show. This is what they think is funny. Britney Spears has a talk show. That's not funny. What the crap? Saturday Night Live has not been funny in years, and they need to learn. They haven't, and I can't do it. One more take. We'll do one more take. One more take. This is why I snapped myself into existence. Saturday Night Live has not been funny in years, and they need to learn that finally. Hello, everyone. I am Mecha Random 42, the one, the only, the original, your favorite YouTube. Good sewer advocate Harpy. We are talking about the Gina Carano instances where she did none of the things that people were accusing her of, but people are not exactly very bright. People are not very well-rounded, well-read. People don't actually read the things that other people say.
I just see people.
No one asked you, and you can just take your little personality and attitude and just shove it right up your... We're talking about Gina Carano instead. We're talking about somebody who actually deserves our attention. Saturday Night Live does not, because they don't know what the crap they're doing, and apparently they think Britney Spears having a talk show in Vegas with some woman who just is like... Okay, that's your Britney Spears impression for sure. That's a Britney Spears impression. Got it. Christopher Gorey, I'm here to thank Counselor Twat for teaching me this past week, as well as deserved, the good Reverend. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. I do not have my notifications on. I gotta find them. Here they are. Now they'll pop up. You can still hear them, but this Britney Spears. Oh, Britney Spears cold open.
Okay, guys. My final guest was fired from the Mandalorian for...
That's not how Britney Spears sounds. Who the hell is this chick, and why am I supposed to laugh at her? Why am I supposed to laugh at her?
something she posted on social media.
No, she was fired for something a lot of people couldn't read and assumed she posted based on what they interjected and what they read for their own projection and their own isms and phobias. She was fired for their own hatred. She was fired for their own inner isms and phobias. She did not say any of these such things, so why are you slandering her?
Please welcome actor Gina Carano!
Like, who do they have playing her? Some chick. Are these like regular cast members? Is this supposed to be like Lily Singh or something playing Gina here? Because I don't know who any of these people are. Saturday Night Live, like I said, has not been funny in years. Oh, this is cringe. This is like a bunch of children who don't know how to writing comedy and thinking that, oh, I just have to look at the camera with a weird expression and then all of a sudden I'm a superstar. That's your comedy. That's your comedy. Just a weird facial expression. All right. So I like the hair and makeup for the woman playing Gina. It looks pretty accurate. It's nothing like, why are you voguing? Why are you voguing? This is voguing. This is Madonna.
Let's go eat some fried fish. Fried fish. Come on, vogue and go.
They're probably all too drunk to know any better anyway, or know the difference. Or why is she? Britney Spears does Britney Spears Vogue all of a sudden? Is that her new thing? That guy's doing a live stream. We're riffing this live, and thank you guys so much for hanging out. So you'll see pop-ups. You'll see anything you guys say in super chats will pop up here. So,
Hi, Gina. Are you here to apologize?
what'd she have to apologize for? Everybody in the planet being a bunch of isophobes and reading into what she said as their own insecurities and hatreds?
I'm here for the opposite of that.
She doesn't sound that rough. That gruff. Gruff? Is that the word I'm looking for? She doesn't sound that rough.
Nothing wrong. No one could even explain what I did wrong.
I think people have explained what they think she did wrong. I think they've explained what they think she did wrong, but here's the thing. If they actually read what she said, they would know that it is not true. It is not accurate. So why would she apologize for what people read into something that she didn't say?
Explain it.
Okay, on Instagram, you said conservatives have it as bad as people living in Nazi Germany.
That's not what she said. She said that we're getting to a point in time. Actually, her post was just comparing 2 points in history and pointing out. She did not say conservatives have it as bad. She said, the post said, people weren't just allowed to be horrible to an entire community of people just overnight for nothing. Guess where it started? It started with neighbors turning on neighbors. Neighbors wanting to and ostracizing and having prejudice against an entire group of people to the point where they were hated and ousted out of society. That is what she was talking about. And if you have that implication, if you are aware that is what that comparison is supposed to be, right? If that is what you're bringing to the table in your own head, then maybe you are doing that. Maybe you are treating people that way. If that's the first place you go in your head, when you read a post that only states how horrible people were back then, that only states what happened then maybe you have hatred in your own heart. Maybe you have your own hatred. And thank you so much for being a channel member. I really, really appreciate it. This is what they don't understand. That every time somebody makes, because I've been a victim of this. I've been on the receiving end of the hate mobs. I've been on the receiving end of this stuff. When you say something like, when Mike Henry steps down from Family Guy and you say a snarky, sarcastic tweet where you say, what's next? Is Brian going to be replaced by an actual dog? And these people insert and make up and they imply a bunch of things that you never ever stated, that you never said, because their own isms and their own phobias have such hatred and disgust, and they think so poorly and little of people that they project and put in place what they think you said, and that is what they try and cancel you for. And even if you clarify, unless you were there slapping down every single one of them, and I'm slapping my hands on my desk, unless you're there to slam down every single one of them, which you can't do when they have these coordinated attacks against you. They will put your post on a message board and say, hey, we have to silence this person. We have to make them apologize. They said something that we read something offensive into, that we projected our own damn selves. And that is what they do. And that is one of the reasons why I like this woman. That's one of the reasons why I like this woman, is because she sees what these mobs do to people. She sees what these mobs do. They twist your words. They put words in your mouth. They make you sound like you said something that you didn't, just so they can come after you. And it doesn't matter what she would have said. It doesn't matter what she would have said. So you know what? Screw this Saturday Night Live clip. I think we don't need to really spend that much more time on it. Is there anything else in it?
Okay, congrats. You explained it. Look, I never would have made that Nazi comparison if I'd known everybody was going to be such a Nazi about it.
That's actually kind of a funny line. I would have never made the comparison if I didn't know everyone was going to be such a... Oh, all right, but here's the thing. Maybe if that's where they're going with the comparison, that's exactly what they're doing. And maybe it's just their own guilt that has to say, oh, you said something about me that I don't like about myself, and therefore I have to attack you for it. Therefore I have to silence you, because they're just looking in their own damn mirrors. They're looking in their own damn mirrors and realizing what they are doing finally. Finally, they are realizing that it has come to the point where you have an entire group of people who are hated, where you have an entire group of people where the media, the entertainment industry, the every single establishment, your schools, your employers have these ways to correct you for being born, because you're now ostracized, for being born a certain ethnicity. So maybe the fact that they're so angry and attacking you is that they realize deep down that that's exactly what they're doing, and they're mad about it because they're realizing how fucking stupid they are and how fucking hateful they are. And I'm so tired of this. I'm gonna be yelling again. No wonder people get upset with how loud I get. Did SNL just say the truth? I think that the actress playing Gina actually just said a little bit of the truth, where, you know, maybe they are acting like that. Maybe we wouldn't point it out so much if they weren't acting like it. Because sorry, there's a lot of people I don't like. But it does not include this generalization of everybody based on a superficial fucking trait like a skin color. It gets old. It gets really, really old and tiresome. It gets old and stupid.
Do you feel like you're a victim of cancel culture?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was canceled by Disney. Disney is the moral high ground. Have you heard?
Yeah, Disney being the moral high ground, who thanked the places where they allowed to film Mulan. Basically, in camps where they re-educate people. I was getting into it with somebody, oh, you need to be re-educated. Do you know who else re-educated people? Like, seriously, I hate using this. They get way too much publicity, these people from World War II. I don't like mentioning them. I don't like bringing them up. It's a kind of a sensitive situation for some people. So maybe stop acting like them. Stop using their playbook. Stop turning an entire country against an entire world against a certain skin color ethnicity, just like they did. Maybe stop doing that. Maybe stop demonizing people. I'm just shaking. I'm just shaking. Slash and burn theory, this goofiness only succeeded in raising Gina's star power. And that's one of the good things about it, is that the more attention it draws to her, the more people are going to be, you know what, I read the thing. How is it that the media can tell me she said something anti-Semitic, but the very person she gives an interview to is a guy who wears a yarmulke on his head and is a conservative Jewish person, an Orthodox one. How is that? Don't you think that might have been a clue that the media is twisting what she's saying, and that a bunch of people are just twisting what she's saying just to cancel her? Is the very people who are defending her the people she's supposed to have slighted? Don't you think that might say something? Don't you think that might be a clue to these people?
Heard Brer Rabbit's accent on the Splash Mountain ride recently?
Oh, it's not just Brer Rabbit. It's China. It's Mulan. It's everything that Disney has done. Their hypocritical treatment of women who disagree with them. Cynical Lindsay, thank you so much. The whole point of comedy is that it humbles us all. It humbles us all. I can talk. It keeps us all in check. The mob don't want to be humbled. That's why they don't understand comedy and why they want to destroy it. Exactly. Because it just points a finger at them too much, and they don't like the horrible people that they've become. They don't like seeing that. And you know what? Once they get it out of their system and get angry and yell for a couple of years like I did, they'll understand that that's what they were doing, because that's what I understood really, really quick when I started doing YouTube and realizing, oh shit, people are fucking nuts. People are fucking nuts. I had no clue. I was just going about my day working at stupid retail in Vegas for 12 years, give or take, the better part of a decade, not paying attention to any of this. Telling you, and thank you so much for your super chat to help fight the good fight. Bless you, fair one. Good roasting be done in your name. Amen. So say we all, right? So they keep going.
Well, if you die on it, they're gonna move the body.
Hey, look, I know how you feel, sweetie. I'm getting a lot of my...
And I'm out. Yeah, chick with a beer. Is it supposed... I don't care. Not touching that one with a 10-foot pole. This is what they need to realize, though. This is what they need to really, really realize, is that just because you're offended by something, maybe you did something offensive. Maybe you're actually looking in the mirror and seeing what you're doing. And seriously, cancel Saturday Night Live if they're going to be so unself. I mean, they kind of. It's almost like they really fail at their wokeness. This is the same thing with Batwoman, where they're trying to play Batwoman as the victim because of the color of her skin, and they can't even do that properly because the story contradicts it. Because the story contradicts it for Batwoman, because she goes up. Batwoman, the new Batwoman, goes up to the lady cop chick. And she's like, well, I know why they keep letting Alice go. It's because they're related. What do you think? Why do you think they keep letting her go? Oh, because if it wasn't for the color of her skin. No, it doesn't have anything to do with that. So they can't even woke right. These people can't even, they're realizing in their own entertainment that they're contradicting themselves right there in the open, that they are unable to run with these things because it's untrue, it's false, it's incorrect. So I am done with this. Saturday Night Live, you're garbage, who cares? Why does Britney Spears all of a sudden have a talk show or a fake version of her who's voguing? I don't know. This is why we don't listen to Saturday Night Live. I am going back to my live chat where we're going to actually dissect the Ben Shapiro interview. Don't go anywhere. All right. Now that I've yelled enough to loosen all the sinus stuff. Oh, I get tired of Saturday Night Live. I get really, really tired of Saturday Night Live. I really do. Who cares? I know, blah blah blah. Who cares? And that's we got to. There's some bombshells. So we're gonna speed through this. I probably double speed. I'm gonna record and clip this. So I'm gonna probably trim it down to a full breakdown. And again, anything you guys say will be appearing. So I'm gonna freshen up my. I know, Mecca yelling. Oh, I'm trying not to yell. Does anyone still watch Saturday Night Live? I don't know. Also, I missed a couple of new channel members here, new sponsors. So thank you if I missed you and I didn't say your name. Danielle. Or Danielle. I'm saying your name wrong. Red Tabasco. Oh, Tabasco sauce. That's what that is. I'm dumb. I am a silly person. But no, I don't think people still watch Saturday Night Live. I really, really don't. Is the jiggle cam dead? It's not. I just haven't been using it. That's also the wrong button. We do have the jiggle cam. It's just we haven't been using it just because it's so hard to push the right button and control a million things. so that's kind of the first thing that we got to lose. All right. Ben Shapiro interview. I'm going to clip this and record this. So anything you guys say, yada yada. You would think that the media would realize how wrong they are when the very people Gina Carano was supposed to have slighted are the people who defend and employ her. Oh, that'll get me canceled. Hello, everyone. I am Mecha Random 42, the one, the only, the original, your favorite YouTube consumer advocate, Harpy, our favorite actress and MMA fighter and all-around hero. You know what? I want to be Gina Carano when I grow up. I want to be somebody just like her who has the guts to stand up for what she believes in, has the guts to not be slighted, has the guts to stand there and say, no, you don't get to do this to me. This is not what I meant. This is not what I said. And I will not allow you to drag my name through the mud just because you don't like me, just because you have a vendetta against people who might disagree with you or think differently or might vote a way that you don't approve of, even though it's perfectly legal and not against the law to vote however you choose. That is why we still have the freedom of the vote, the secret ballot. You're not supposed to know or care who other people vote for because it actually doesn't hurt you. It actually doesn't affect yet. It will get there soon. It'll get there soon enough. Why the intro? Why the intro? We all know what Gina Carano was accused of. We all know that she was accused of posting something that a lot of people took out of context many times over. And this interview that we're going to dissect here, we're going to speed it up a little, has been done by one of the very people that she's supposed to have slighted. And I don't see him being very offended. I don't see him running her over the coals. Is that what it is? Running her over the rails? Is that the term? I don't even know the term I'm supposed to be using anymore. I don't see him giving her the what for. I see him treating her like a reasonable person would. You know, one of the very people she's supposed to have slighted. So this is a politics ball commentator that I don't really know. His name is Ben Shapiro. I don't really watch him because, as you guys know, my about as deep as I go into politics is, do you play guitar on your stream? I'll watch you if you play guitar. I don't think this guy plays guitar. I could be mistaken. If he does, I might check him out. Now, that being said, he did an interview with Gina Carano for his Daily Wire. This is Ben Shapiro. I don't really know him from anybody. I'm going to make myself just a little smaller live, so we can react to this. Now, if you want to check out his entire interview, we're not going to react to the entire thing, but we're going to go through as much of this as we can, as much of this as we can get through, as much of this as we... It is shocking. It is shocking to me that they had the nerve. I've already watched this. All right, we will get into it, and I'll stop as we go. Oh, and Stephanie Lopez, thank you so much for the super chat. These wokerati have this sick fascination with tearing down anyone who doesn't fit their narrative, but Gina, she refuses to let them tear her down, which is why she's a hero. Not only that, she stands up for the people, for the underdog. She stands up for people who don't have a voice in this. When I see her fighting for what she believes in and for the power to not be canceled, I see her fighting and standing up for every single person who is afraid to speak up at work when they get a little talking to because of the color of their skin. For every single person who is afraid to speak out, who just puts their head down and does their job because they don't want to lose their livelihoods. They don't want to lose their home. They don't want to lose their family. They don't want to lose everything that they have built up. So they have to play by these rules of, we suck. We know we suck. We suck for being born, and we suck, and you need to punish us for things that we never did. And that's what they will go with, and that's what they will say. And it's only a matter of time before they come for everybody. It's only a matter of time before they come to you. It's only a matter of time. Because what happens? If you don't join their clique, you get ostracized. If you don't go after others, if you don't turn your own zealotry into this witch hunt to go and see, look what you said, look what you did, look what you did. then they cancel you. They do not want genuine, good, decent people who actually just want to get by in life. No, they want to figure. What are they trying to do? They're trying to what? Fix the world. They're trying to fix hundreds of thousands of years of evolution. This tribal evolution that we evolved with. They're trying to somehow right now in about a year's time just jump to the end, just skip to the end. They just want to pay to win. They just want to skip over the hard work. They want to skip over all the leveling up and the years and years of grinding and progress it's going to take to actually get to a point in society where these people are ready enough to be evolved enough to interact with the rest of us. No. They heard so white people did some bad things in a long time ago, so therefore they equate that to white man bad, and that's all they know. They're doing the condensed versions. They're doing the Cliff Notes versions of social justice. They're doing the condensed Cliff Notes versions of how to fix society when we're not there yet. Once they would really actually understand that having this hatred and prejudice in their hearts towards an entire group of people is exactly the wrong thing. It is exactly the wrong thing. And this is what we were talking about. This is what we were saying earlier. Let's get into the interview. We did speed it up a little bit just to get through it. It's about an hour. We're not going to watch the whole thing. I definitely recommend you watching it on his channel here now. We'll get into it.
Either in the production of the show or on the set or in any way.
That's too fast. All right. And I went too far back. He's asking her how did she know that politics were going to be a thing that was going to be. Yeah, we'll go 1.2. We'll go 1.2. All right.
To dailywire.com, become a member. They'll have access to all of the full conversations with every one of our awesome guests. Gina Carano, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you. I'm not just stopping by. I'm like...
You're part of the thing now.
I'm coming in for the hugs.
So why don't we start with, the actual topic of the day, which is...
Center it. We'll center it a little bit better. Okay. Center it. Is that good? Can we read the closed captioning? They're saying, Ben speaks at the speed of light, so you need to be careful speeding it up. We've got the subtitles on. We're not really listening. We're not really that interested in what he's saying. We're more interested in what she's responding to. Yeah, I'm speeding it up. I'm speeding it up because I've got a stream in about an hour here, and I'm going to be probably... Should we not speed it up? We can not speed it up if you don't want to. That's the thing. I was going to speed it up just to kind of get through it, because I'm not going to sit here and EFAP the whole thing.
What exactly happens? You've said before that you felt like you were sort of on thin ice with Disney Plus and Lucasfilm for a while. What gave you that first indicator? First of all, why don't we start from the very beginning? How did you get cast in the show The Mandalorian to begin with?
So I was sitting on my couch and I was thinking, I really have to take this more seriously. I have to take acting more seriously. I have to give it my all. Because if I don't take myself seriously as an actor, then who else is going to?
All of us. I think we all are. And I'm pausing it in a weird place. Sorry.
And as soon as
bigger, a little more flattering when I pause her. I try not to do that. I just try to get in when I can get in to break up the copyright here, so I'm not just stealing their whole thing and uploading it. That's why I wanted to commentate on this. That's why I wanted to react to this, because this is the thing. Now, one of the things that she gets accused of, which is really irritating to me, it's like, the people say, oh, well, she got fired because she's a bad actress. There's plenty of people who are terrible actors who they still have careers. That's no excuse. However you feel her acting ability is, I think she's perfectly fine for action female roles like that. Why do I say female? I don't know. For like these action-y sort of fighty roles. She's perfectly fine for those. So I don't have a problem with her abilities because she's certainly doing better than I would.
As I said that, 5 minutes later, my agent at the time called me and said, Jon Favreau wants to meet with you. I was like, yes, absolutely. And they were like, we don't know what it's about. And so we set up a meeting and Jon Favreau took me through, he's like, you don't know why you're here? And I'm like, no, but here's a bottle of wine. And I'm a big fan. And he took me through all of the concept art. And he's like, well, we're here to cast you as a part in our new Disney Plus series, The Mandalorian.
And
so here's one thing I want to mention. I want to point out, Jon Favreau is we're gonna set up this. We're gonna set up this because I've watched this already. I have some notes, but I think I got it. I don't think I need to pull them up just yet. Jon Favreau. This is an important thing to remember, that he is the one who is directly responsible for casting her in this role. This is his baby. This is his show. This is his thing. So any behind the scenes tug of war between Kathleen Kennedy and Jon Favreau, this just confirms even further that Jon Favreau's baby was the Mandalorian. That his character, how do I say this? Because of the fact that the Cara Dune action figure was canceled and removed as well. That was a direct slap in the face from Kathleen Kennedy's part of Lucasfilm to Jon Favreau's camp at Lucasfilm, where she said, you know what? I still have all the power and I can take money out of your pocket. We're going to cancel this action figure so you don't get any rights for it. And we're going to cancel it so Gina doesn't get any rights for it anymore. Because I believe they probably get some sort of residuals. At least she got paid her likeness rights up front. But for somebody like Jon Favreau, having probably the back end on any toy that he created, any character that he created that has a toy made from it, not only did we have little baby Yoda getting sent off with Uncle Luke, we also had, now we have the removal of Cara Dune. This screams to me that Kathleen Kennedy is doing whatever she can to burn down the Mandalorian and destroy any of the things that we liked about it. What did I like about Mandalorian? Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda. He was always my favorite. What does everybody else like about Mandalorian? They loved Cara Dune. They loved Bill Burr. They loved Bill Burr's character. He's probably next on the chopping block. Mandalorian was and is exactly the Star Wars that people like Kathleen Kennedy at Lucasfilm were unable to give us with the sequel trilogy. And if that were the case, where I was so bent, if I were Kathleen Kennedy and so bent on presenting us with this strong female character of Rey that everybody rejected and hated just for the Mandalorian to come along and have Jon Favreau's little project be not only have an amazing, strong female badass character like Cara Dune, but also have everything that the Star Wars fans wanted. It brought in the normies. It brought in the casual viewers. It brought in the Funko collectors. It brought in the wine. It brought in everybody to the table. Everybody that Lucasfilm thought they wanted and then some. It kept the old fans happy. It brought a lot of the old fans back after Solo couldn't. After The Last Jedi destroyed us all. So this just further indicates to me this tug of war behind the scenes at Lucasfilm.
And how quickly was it apparent to you that politics was going to be a problem, either in the production of the show or on the set or in any way?
The interesting thing I think about this whole political thing in me is I'm not like you. I've never been really interested in politics. And then
This is how they get you. As somebody who's had personal experience in this, being somebody who doesn't talk about politics, being somebody who didn't vote after 2000, being somebody like for my own personal experience, this modern day culture, this modern day environment pushes you to a side, whether you want to be there or not, whether you want to be labeled as one. Like, if you are not part of the woke cult, their clique, their gang, then you are not on their team, and then you are by default other. You are by default on the other side. And thank you so much, Kit Kat, for the derpacorn. Is it Doomacorn, derpacorn, whichever it is, whichever you do.
And as soon as I started seeing what was happening, I guess in 2020, I started looking up like, well, maybe the adults don't have it under control. And maybe I'm an adult now, and maybe I have a responsibility to pay attention.
That's exactly when I started paying attention to more of the political, because you couldn't avoid it. You're going about your life, and then 2020 happens, and then it's like, oh crap, now I got to check my social media all the time because I'm home all the time because I got nothing else. And you start seeing and you start reading and you start realizing, oh, you people are just reacting to a bunch of bullshit that somebody said, and you're not paying attention. You're not reading what they said. You're not actually, and I should have known better being somebody who's been slammed by the wokes on YouTube for the past couple of years. That's when you really start waking up to this, and you can't avoid being dragged into it if you have any sort of presence in reality. Set up, and thank you so much, Jesse Miller. Set up for 4:30, so take your, thank you. I was trying to get done before here. So Jesse Miller, happy birthday, Jesse. So it's Jesse Miller's birthday also. It's Jesse Miller's birthday. We're gonna be clipping this and chopping some of this down. Immediately after my stream, we're gonna be hopping over. At least I am, and you all are going to come with me, or else I will get the riding crop, and you won't like it if I get the riding crop. This isn't the loud one. I need the louder one. So we're all gonna be going over to Jesse Miller's birthday after. Ooh, this chair. I hate this chair. So happy birthday, Jesse Miller. And we're all going to be hopping over there after the fact. Yeah, I wanted to get this one up. I wanted to at least talk about this today because this dropped today. So she's basically, her story, I can relate. I can identify. I can identify with this a lot. She's somebody who didn't pay attention until the world started stopping and closing down. And then she started seeing what was going on. And she said, oh, wow. You know, that from what I'm interpreting, that she thought that the adults were handling the political sphere, that people more educated and more informed. She's speaking for herself. I don't have to interject, but she says, yeah, I have to take responsibility and I have to pay attention because now I'm an adult and I thought the adults took charge and I guess they didn't. And that's where I started seeing this stuff too. That's where I started paying attention. I'm like, you guys have no reason to be having these uninformed opinions going around destroying everything because you have these little false truths and half informations and half facts that you're reacting to. It's reactionary. It is a bunch of children throwing temper tantrums, reacting.
And I guess when we first started having, problems was it had to have been on the pronoun usage, I think, was the first problem.
She noticed the first time the people were going after her was because of the pronoun thing. All right. I noticed the first time people were going after her. I think they had it out for her. I think they did in 2019. I think once they realized she wasn't going to be part of their little wokier than thou clique. I think once they realized, and here's the thing, like I said, if you are not political, they shove you to a side whether you are there or not, right? If you are not one of these vocal screaming SJW types, they're going to label you conservative. They're going to label you Republican. They're going to label you whatever they think that you are, because you are not loud and vocal on their team, rooting and trying to destroy other people on behalf of their team. So wherever your political leanings lie, if you are not part of that little subgroup, that tiny little vocal minority, the loudest, screamingest brats out there, if you're not part of that little group, they're going to label you that anyway. And in 2019, CBR ran a hit piece on her stating that people had a problem with women in The Mandalorian, when the only person I saw them quote was a parody, a joke account, a satire account called Jar Jar Not Abrams, with basically, I think it's J.J. Abrams as Lord Helmet, I think, as with a Lord Helmet mask from Spaceballs. It's a parody account that they were quoting as fact to try and set up this narrative that, oh, well, Star Wars fans hate women, for when they would ultimately get rid of her. They didn't even have to do that. They just had to trigger the right mob, the right group of people, the right little wokey mob. And this is what she's talking about with the pronoun usage. And here's the thing, and I'm going to say this. You do not have the right to force people to put a pronoun into their bio if they do not wish to. Just because they do not want to put a pronoun in their bio, it is not against you. It just means that sometimes people have other shit to do and other shit to deal with that is not talking about you, right? That is not talking about the little wokey woke mob. All right, what are you guys saying in chat here? Also, I'm going to record this in a couple of little parts because when I have more than like an hour of video at 1080, it's going to take a while to upload. It's going to take a while, so. I still hate politics on both sides. I'll not be torn apart by the brainwashing BS. It's like a cult. And that's the thing. That's the thing. You get some people who are super duper on one team who say, oh, you're just all cult members. And then you have other people who are super duper on another team saying, you're just all cult members. And I do the same thing because I kind of see it for what it is, as somebody who is apolitical. It's like, I don't care about any of these assholes. I don't care about any of these guys. If you knew my political leanings, people, you would know that I kind of come from the school of George Carlin. Politicians were bought and sold a long time ago. They really, really were. Anyway, gonna go back into the interview. Spaceballs is a classic. Also, Spaceballs. We do have the Schwartz.
Maybe before that. Well, because, I was really upset about the shutdowns. I know what it's like to be working and then not to work. And then, I know the depression that comes with not working, because my job has been on and off its entire life.
Oh, this breaks my heart. She looks like she's the type of person who saw people out there losing their jobs and was saddened. Anybody else get really, really angry when people like Patton Oswalt were shunning and shaming people for wanting to work just by labeling them, oh, you just want to get your hair done. You just want to go out to eat. What if they want to work at their hair salon? What if that's their livelihood, their life's passion, and just see that taken from them? Excellent. Because some irresponsible fucking people don't know how to react and respond. That's infuriating, and that does not make you a conservative if you want to have a job. That does not make you. And I see where she's coming from. It seems like it broke her heart, like it did a lot of us, and that's why I started lashing out at people like Patton Oswalt for this shit. And that's when I really, really started noticing this double standard that no matter what you do, if you are labeled other, they will do whatever they can to shame, shun, and do the exact same thing you do. Do the exact same thing you do. How many people got super upset when you would see somebody trying to protest because they wanted to work, and then you have other people wanting to protest for other reasons? Why is one thing any more or less important than the other if you're going to be doing it? And I hate having to stand up and talk politics but they brought it to us. They really brought it to us. And Clint Matthews, thank you so much for the super chat. It's wild that someone who did MMA for a living is such a sweetheart, while these SJW weaklings are a bunch of rabid beasts. She seems like me. She's like, she wants to get angry and fight to get the right thing out there, to get the right message. That's what she seems like to me. She seems like she says this in a few times in her interview. She's got hot blood, and I'm like, I hear you. I'm the same way. It's like I want to fight for the underdog, because that's what we've done our whole lives. You fight for the underdogs. And then you see the whole society saying, oh, you're so privileged, but you're an underdog. Special Agent Randy Beans, $5 super chat. Lucasfilm sounds like really, really sick, like a really sick place. Oh, we're not even getting into the half of it with what they wanted to do to her. They basically wanted to put her in a re-education Zoom meeting, which we're going to get to in a minute here. But no, this just seems like to me she wanted to... She was hurting for the people who were losing everything. She was seeing this, and she was feeling how can she have the compassion for them that these other people don't. And I think that's what really is telling about the character of somebody, that you can see somebody that you might not even understand or have any knowledge of, but you see somebody hurting and you're like, you're hurting because of this. And this is directly affecting you, and this lockdown is directly affecting you, and whatever your stance is, it is not fair to the people who have had their lives destroyed from all of this. It just isn't.
You got a job and then you sit out a year, and you got a job and you sit out, and not having a job and not having purposes, it's devastating. You go through a depression. It's not consistent. Mm-hmm. And I think I do good with consistency.
Can you take us through sort of the controversy over the transgender pronoun? Because that was the first time you started really trending on Twitter for politics.
I ended up putting beep bop boop in my Twitter bio.
That's what R2D2 would say. He'd be beep bop boop, or Cleveland on Family. Oh, they canceled him though. And
100%, it was 100% to go to the Twitter mob that was telling you what to do, and it had zero to do with trying to go after the transgendered community.
Here's the thing. Most of these people who go after you on social media for not doing or joining or ganging up on, or they're mad at you because you won't grab the soap and go after somebody else, like in Full Metal Jacket. That's what they're really, really mad about, right? And a lot of these people aren't actually transgendered. A lot of these people don't actually care. A lot of these people who will swarm an actor, because Data Racer has pulled up countless screenshots of these people. They don't have pronouns in their own bios. And they want to bully her for it. They're not transgender. They're not LGBTQ+. They're not any of these things. And they want to speak on behalf of it. Or I got into it with somebody yesterday. They wanted me to speak on behalf of the LGBTQ community, and I'm like, oh, I've been told to know my place and stay in my lane just because I'm not constantly flaunting a sexual orientation or preference or whatever word you want to use. Whatever word you want to use, just because I'm not constantly flaunting it, because it has nothing to do with my daily life. It really, really doesn't. I care more about what I'm making for dinner than who I'm banging in a given day. Because let's face it, it's not that important to me. And to bully and force somebody to putting a pronoun into their bio is super presumptuous, for one. It's super presumptuous. What if it's a sensitive issue for somebody like her? I mean, you saw how people made fun of her on Saturday Night Live for her voice. What if it's a sensitive issue? What if she's upset because people bullied her for calling her a man for her whole life or something? I'm just making this up. I'm just kind of saying, you got to kind of think like an asshole sometimes to see what they would say. And maybe she's a little sensitive to it. Maybe she's tired of the mobs and the mob mentality, which is what she just said right here. She did that to stand up and protest the mob, the Twitterati, the bot accounts, the marketing accounts, the people who have 4 or 5 different Twitter handles, and they're all sock puppets, and they sit their butts on Twitter all goddamn day, just harassing people, bothering people, archiving things from years ago to cancel you over. Also, Tyler Preston, thank you so much. SNL will kiss the mouse's ass by calling Gina a Yahtzee, but ignoring the filming near the bad people camps in China and thanking them. And we've covered the double standard so many times. Oh, we've covered that so many times. It is such a horrific tragedy. It is disgusting and appalling and abhorrent, and I'm going to use their own words, that they have the nerve to thank those locations and the people involved in that shit, because that's not a productive way to go about your life and go about society. Sorry. Those who can't bully, yeah, they do. They bully others, and that's really, really shitty.
Because I would never do that. I'm just me personally, I'm not trying to target anybody or go out after anybody. And so as soon as I saw people started taking that wrong, I put right after that, I was like, no, beep, bop, boop was like me just saying, I literally said to my friend, I was like, let's put something in my bio just to show like I can put whatever I want in my bio. Just like they put like whatever they want in their bio, like Trash Panda and all this stuff. And like,
that is these people who will go after you, like she said, they will put whatever the fuck they want in their bios. They will put Trash Panda. They will put, they will put Meat Popsicle. They will put, I think mostly people mocking the pronoun gangs, right? Not the transgender community, because the transgender community are not all one multi-conglomerate of one group think. And that's the other thing. That's the other thing that these mobs don't understand, is when they swarm somebody, then you're just presenting this stereotype that you're all that this group, this community all thinks and acts and wants the same thing. I'm sorry, I've known transgendered people in some form or another for the better part of 30 years, 25, 30 years, right? Somebody I knew in high school, actually one of my oldest friends in high school, transitioned. And now that she's a woman, I don't see her as being, she's not the same as everybody else. People are individuals. They aren't this conglomeration. They're not this stereotype. They're not this giant group of people who only think and swarm and do and move like the freaking Borg. Sorry, they're not. And the fact that these mobs get on social media just kind of trying to force people into these stereotypes, it's disgusting.
So I just put these noises in my bio, and then there was this crazy meltdown. It was just a big, massive meltdown, and all the fear and all of the stuff goes straight through your skin, and you start like, whoa, what is happening? Like, I told you I didn't mean this towards this community, and like,
oh, they don't care. They've been looking for something to go after you because you're the next target. You're the next one down. That's what they do. They will focus all of their rage and hatred on one specific individual because it gives them their little endorphins. It gives them their little likes. It gives them their clout. It gives them power, because these are, a lot of the time you get these people who they're just children, right? And thank you so much. Thank you so much, Colin Ewan. Commandant Kennedy has been oddly quiet during the storm she's raised. Oh, she's in hiding. She's in hiding. And thank you so much. Thank you so much. But no, they don't care whether you said it or not. They just know you as other. You are labeled in their minds. You are the enemy. So no matter what you said, what you meant, and this is why I always say you never apologize to this community. You always want to turn it on them and showcase and hold a mirror up to them. You gotta be really thick-skinned, and you gotta treat them like they're telemarketers. You've got to treat these people, if you get into a swarm on social media, and they'll come for everybody eventually. If you dislike Star Trek Discovery, rather, and prefer TNG to Discovery, or if you say, hey, season 1 of TNG wasn't that bad, they will come for you because you are now labeled as other. You are not part of their little tribe. They have these little signals to each other of little things that they all say and do and think, and the second you contradict one of these little unspoken and ever-changing rules, then they will swarm for you, because especially if you're an easy target, especially if you're somebody who's just going to, who they think is the lower tier. If they think, oh, you're the woman in the community who has a lower sub count than somebody else, then we're going to go after you, because they silence you from the bottom up. That's what they do. They silence you from the bottom up, right? And then once they can't silence you, then they start writing hit pieces. Then they start banning. Then they start doing anything else they can to shut you up. But if you're one of the bottom tier or lower tier sort of people that they think they can get away with doing this to, then they will go after you. And if you are a actual strong-willed person who is not going to be bent over by these mobs, they're going to come after you 10 times harder. So is it any surprise to me? No, not at all, because I've been through this myself with a lot of this. So,
you're misunderstanding it. And it was just a shock wave went through my body. So I was like, oh, this is what this feels like. This is uncomfortable.
So Disney came to you and presumably Lucasfilm and asked you to put out some sort of apology, or how did they deal with that?
I had a publicist at the time, and they said, you have to put out you have to put out apology. This is messed up. This is awful. And I was like, okay. I did say right after that tweet, I clarified for everybody, this was not directed towards the trans.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. That's the thing. They don't care if you apologize. They want you to submit. They don't want you to apologize. They want you to join them or be destroyed by them. That's really how it is. They are the blob, and they are swarming and consuming and destroying anything in its path. And if they can't incorporate you, then they want you gone. It doesn't matter if you apologize. It doesn't matter what your intent is. It doesn't matter what's in your heart or who's actually right and who's actually on the right side of history right now. It really doesn't. And we need to have everybody all at once stand up to this stuff to finally put a stop to it. And is that going to happen? I don't know. Also, thank you so much. Holy crap. We got 400 people here, 420 people. Thank you for hitting the like button and spending Sunday afternoon with me, ripping on Lucasfilm. SJWs have lost their mind. Okay, sorry, it's not good enough. That's where we're at. If you say you're sorry, it's still not good enough. They want you to make amends. They want you to basically, they want you to submit and admit that you were wrong for being born, and that's really how it's getting. They will not stop. They will not be satisfied. They will not be, and that's what's so sad and disgusting. And you can try and point out, you can try and hold a mirror up to somebody. Anytime you get on social media and they're like, you need to go to a re-education center. I'm like, well, it's a good thing that for me that you're on the right side of history, what with being on the same side as the people who were allowed and encouraged to turn against their neighbors, to turn neighbor against neighbor, to turn family members in for being other. It's a good thing you're on that side of history, because that worked out so well last time. Didn't it?
Gender community in any way. And I've also been watching celebrities apologize left and right, and it's very ingenuine. And I said, can you just give me a moment, because I'm kind of feeling emotional right now. And can I just do my own research? And so, they were like, okay, yeah, do your research, but you need to get on the phone tomorrow with our LGBTQ transgender section.
A section. They have a section. So they're sectioning them off. No wonder they segregate the gays on Discovery. So they section people off by, now here's our Black community. Now here's our Hispanic community, or Latinx, I guess is what they call them now. Here's our LGBT communities or sections of our company. That sounds really, really segregationist. And I don't like that. Anybody else not like that? Oh, did we freeze?
And I was like, I'm feeling very emotional. Can you give me a second? And they said, no, you need to do.
Oh, that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing. No, you don't force somebody when they are getting swarmed and they are having an emotional response. Because if she's anything like me, and I think she might be a little like me, if you get emotional like that, I get mad before I get remorseful of anything. My first reaction is anger. My blood will boil, and I will be enraged. They will activate the full-on mecha kaiju harpy. I will bring out the riding crop, and I will slap down anybody who tries to come after me. Anybody. But then again, I also have had a little bit more experience dealing with the people who just want to attack and hurt and harm and make you feel bad. And I realized that I don't have a problem treating them like the scripted, soulless telemarketer accounts that they are. Treating them like the bots that they are. And once you realize that about these people, especially, and I will clarify, I never go to them. They always find me. There are always people who don't follow me, who I've never had any interaction with. And I'm pretty sure the same thing with her. She probably never has had any interaction, any encounter with these people. They go to her, they find her, they seek her out, they seek out things to be offended by. I've seen that happen to friends in the community for posting about Harley Quinn. I've seen that happen to celebrities. I've seen that happen time and time again. And the only people that are forgiven are the people who turn into that mob, who turn into this hateful, horrific, anti-you sort of clique. You know, those people.
I do not need a 40-year-old white dude.
Those people.
Do this now. And so I did. I was like, okay, we have to do it now. Then let's do it now. And so I watched their documentary and I got on the phone with them. And they basically were, just two very gentle people. And they were like, we're sorry, like you stepped in what they call a landmine. And we can tell, you're not here against us. And they actually reported back to Disney and Lucasfilm. They thought it would be a bad idea if they canceled me, or if they let this affect anything, because I got on the phone with them and I said, hey, I got on Zoom with them and I explained, hey, I just, I don't have any hate in my heart for anyone. I stepped in the line, man.
And after that,
All right, we got it. So she went on the phone with just a couple of them at first, right? And people are saying in chat here, sounds like a corporate struggle session to me. It's disgusting, right? Exactly. And it just oh, sorry for the breathing. They have their own documentary. Apparently they do. Yeah, the corporate struggle session. A re-education camp by any other name, a struggle session is still a re-education camp. Lettuce says, yes. That's the difference here. They don't realize that is re-education camps. That is forcing somebody to change their thought process for no reason other than to prove your own religious zealotry, to force them to join your cult, your clique, to change their religion. Is all this is doing. And it's disgusting. Imagine if somebody sat you down and said, now you're going to become a Scientologist, or now you're going to become a snake handler, or whatever other religion that you might not be a part of, right? And we have a freedom to choose whatever you want. That is where we need to kind of focus. We still have this freedom, at least until we don't anymore. Matt G, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really, really appreciate it. And this is the thing that really, really gets me with this. That really, really gets me is that she went on the Zoom call for the first Zoom call. There was 2 of them that she's talking about in this. The first Zoom call she actually did, and they said, yeah, it would be a bad idea to cancel her. We don't think she actually meant anything. She doesn't have hate in her heart for anybody. She's not out there trying to harm the transgender community. It would be a big mistake to cancel her. So what do? They cancel her anyway because they don't like her, because they believe all these things, because it's infuriating when they're wrong. It's infuriating when somebody holds a mirror up to them.
You've said before that the Disney Lucasfilm folks said that you weren't basically to do any press after that for The Mandalorian.
Yeah, so we went through this really long thing where it was like back and forth. They wanted me to say this. I felt like it was ingenuine. I wrote out like this massive thing that said, I mean, I have it, and everything that I read through it, and I was like, oh my gosh, if I put out this statement now, it'd actually be very enlightening to how I was feeling a year ago. But they didn't want that. They didn't want that. I think, they thought, I was already taking too much attention off of The Mandalorian, which it was not my intention, because I know how hard everybody works on it. Because we got down to this like statement within like 2 words. Like almost like 2 words, this ridiculous thing. And they were like, and they just said it was not apologetic enough. And I was like, enough.
Not apologetic enough. How do you have it not be apologetic enough? How can it be not apologetic enough? I wonder. So what? You're not saying, I am so sorry that I hurt all of you, and to admit guilt to something like that would basically be to apologize for something like that would be to admit guilt. It would be to say, yes, I had this ill will, that would be what it seems like to me. Norm Blythers, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really, really appreciate it. And yeah, so she gets it down to 2 words. Like within 2 words of what she's comfortable with stating and what they're okay with letting her say. Which tells you something too, by the way. So she gets it down to a couple of words of what she's comfortable with saying and what they're comfortable letting her say. And then they still said, you don't sound apologetic enough. You don't sound like you're guilty. And that's the problem. That's the problem here. That's the problem here is they want you to be guilty. They just want you to be guilty whether it's true or not, just to appease the little wokey wokes, just to conform, because that's their clique. That's their zealotry. That's their religion anymore. And it gets so extraordinarily infuriating every time I see this. And what happens? Then they turn into the biggest wokey wokes out there. They turn into the exact same thing that the hate mobs did to them. They really do. You have somebody like a Brie Larson or an Alyssa Milano or somebody who was canceled many times over for whatever stupid shit that they've done. And in Brie Larson's case, she made a racist movie that they're still not letting her get over. I think they have finally. I think they finally let her get over that because and first off, Brie Larson, she didn't even make the damn thing. She just starred in it. She didn't write the thing or anything or produce it. But it was a pretty darn offensive movie if you were from India. And yeah, I can see why people were offended by that. So what does she do? She goes and virtue signals more. She goes and she doubles down on hatred. Same thing with Alyssa Milano. She got canceled for the blackface Snooki picture or whatever she did, or any other cornrows or any of the other things that Alyssa Milano has done over the years. And what do? They are some of these biggest virtue signalers out there because they want the focus shifted from them. Because every time I see these people who are virtue signalers, I used a tweet the other day. Manu, guy I know from Star Trek, he played Icheb on Next Generation. I've talked to him. I've interviewed him. We've talked. We've chatted. He admitted saying some racist things in the past, and he thinks that everybody did just because he did. And sorry. Not everybody is that hateful. Not everybody is that. I cannot see how everybody in the world is that prejudiced and hateful in their life. Sorry, I'd lose all faith in humanity I have left, and it's not that much if I were to believe that. But these woke mobs do. They think that if they virtue signal hard enough, that they can be forgiven for their own racism.
I mean, it was shocking. Like, I want to communicate. They wanted me to get and all of these Lucasfilm employees are railing me on their websites. I mean, one of them, creative director, had a GoFundMe, and in the GoFundMe bio, it was like, "This is because our ignorant actress," and and like it was like you. So they wanted me to get on the phone with like 40 of their LGBTQ community.
That sounds like they wanted her to be jumped into a gang, right? That sounds like, oh, we want 40 people to yell at you on a Zoom meeting. We want to have 40 people shame and shun and tell you how horrible you are, and you have to bend over and submit and take it. How is that okay? How is that okay? Like, I get that Disney is a corporation and they have an image and they have a reputation of being this family friendly. Keep your grown-up stuff out of the Disney stuff, right? They have this reputation. So how is that okay? How is that a corporate practice? How is a shaming session and a shunning session and basically a forced bullying of an actress going to fix anything? How is that going to appease anybody? How is that going to fix anything when she didn't even mean the thing? Because if I were in that meeting, if I were there, I'd be like, you know what? You guys need to lighten up. I didn't mean it, but the fact that you're reacting like a bunch of bullies just proves that maybe you might be. You 40 specifically might be. Not the entire community. Stop speaking and stop being assholes on behalf of the LGBTQ community, please. Stop being jerks on behalf of the rest of the community, because guess what? You're giving the community a bad reputation. You're giving people reason to resent the community by being the bad guys. Don't give people reason to resent your community, because it's not a very good look for you. It is not a very good look for any of us. Oh, but no. They want to do this.
Not on the phone, on Zoom. And I felt like you're all these people, all your employees are slandering the hell out of me right now.
Mm-hmm.
You think I want to get on a video where they can then film it? And I felt very kind of insecure about that. So what I offered them was, the restaurants at the time had, started opening back up. And I was like, let me take, 4 or 5 of them out to dinner, and it'd be a person to person. You can look me in my eyes. I can look you in your eyes, and let's have a genuine conversation. And I think it's also a bit abusive that you want me to talk to 40 people and hear 40 people. Like, I just that have been slandering, like, and maybe not all of them have been slandering me, but a lot of them probably.
That's the thing. A lot of them do. A lot of them have their sock puppets. A lot of them have burners. And Ichibaka does some great work over on over on social media gathering this. Data Racer and Ichibaka are 2 accounts you want to follow if you want to find all of the dirt on every Lucasfilm employee that has had some negative interaction with people on social media just because they're allowed to, because that's accepted in their society, in their little clique, in their culture. That's accepted at Lucasfilm, to be horrible to other people, to prefer one group of people, to cater to the loudest, most screamingest, spoiled brats. That is what they're doing. They are catering to the most spoiledest of brats of all of them. That's a struggle session, the very definition of it. Yeah. And that's not okay. That's not okay. I've been in some of those. I've had talkings too at jobs. Yeah, surprise me. Yeah. I've had some talkings too at jobs, and I have stood my ground every single time and said, if you believe I said that, that is 100% on you. And I am apologetic that you were offended by what you think I said. And that's as much as I would bend over for these companies. I am sorry that you were offended by what you think I said. And if that's on them, that's on them. I cannot control their emotions, right? I do not live on this planet to cater to or bend to or try not to offend anybody. Like, I'm not going out of my way to piss people off, usually. I'm not going out of my way to hurt people. I'm not going out of my way to destroy people. I'm not going out of my way to silence and cancel and ruin people's lives and getting them fired. I'm not doing any of that. And Tyler Preston, thank you so much for the super chat. I've officially stopped trying to reason with these smooth brains. It's bad for my health. They're the same people who believe that a female character that looks feminine is prawn. Yeah, is a giggity character. Let the franchise burn. And that's the thing. That's the thing. These wokier than thous. You make a good point. They think that these wokier than thous think that just because you have a feminine body type, Oh, where are her organs? Where are her organs? She's got a small waist, so where are her organs? Just because you don't have a small waist doesn't mean that she can't. And you don't say the same thing about the actual very, very real thin actors out there who I do actually wonder about. Hey, how does she flip a big guy over her head? I can believe Gina Carano can flip a guy over her head because she has the muscles and the strength and the ability. She's trained to do that. That's her career. That's her build. That's her body type. So when you give me like a tiny little real thin actress, I can't plausibly believe that she would be able to do those physical stunts. All right. Take a second here. How are you guys doing? I gotta take a sip of this right while we're about halfway. Well, we're 10 minutes into this interview, so I'm gonna be going for at least another hour here. Brian Sink, get woke, go broke. That's where we're at. Please, Gina could beat half of us to death and some of us would pay her to do so, right? Oh, cancel bully culture. I'm so tired of cancel culture. I'm tired of the bullies. I'm tired of the garbage. I'm tired of everything. This is great. I'm trying. This is kind of what we did over on Midnight's Edge, only we discussed it more. Gina going toe-to-toe with Colossus, not a problem. See, this pisses me off. I keep stopping and recording because I want to split up little segments here and there, and I don't know how much of this I want to split up, but the issue that I keep seeing with Lucasfilm is they like to focus so much on the feminism. They like to focus so much on, oh, the Force is female. Unless you're a woman who doesn't cave to the transgendered slam call, the group meeting of now we're gonna have 40 people coming to your Zoom meeting just so they can tell you why you suck and how horrible you are. And if somebody wants to do that, I usually give it right back to them. She seems like the type she would probably want to give it right back to them.
And it was just like, wait, I don't feel like I've really like deserved this, you know? I mean, don't you guys see what's happening online? It's like all these bots. It's not even like faces. It's not real people. It's just, and it feels like I don't know who these people are.
Children, yes. These are kids with 3 or 4 accounts. One of them will be a Captain Marvel account. One of them will be a BTS account. One of them will be, oh, I'm Tony Danvers and I'm this and this fan for this thing. And then they'll have a DC account. Mostly it's Disney though. Then they'll have like a Raylo account for Star Wars or something garbage like that. And that's why, especially if like they have all Disney, right? Because I see the same thing over with the DC and Warner stuff. Because you have fewer of them for the DC stuff. Actually, you can pretty much say anything you want as long as you don't slam the Snyder Cut. You're pretty much fine. But once you say something bad about Disney, that's when they swarm you. That's when they slam you the most. Isaac the Dragonborn, thank you so much for the super chat. Disney is looking to hire strong, independent women, but not Gina. She's too strong, right? She won't bend over and submit. She won't bend over and take it. She won't bend over and do what she's told. Oh, there is nothing more insulting and insufferable than a male feminist or somebody who wants a woman to submit and do as they're told. Oh, are you kidding me? Then this is why I hate that fake woke feminism. That fake woke feminism BS where it's all about male bashing and bashing women when they don't conform and submit to your little male bashing ideology, right? When they don't say that white men are the scum of the earth. And she's absolutely right. You don't know who these people are. You can't treat them as anything other than a telemarketer, a bot, a marketing account, because they don't have their own face on their profile picture. They don't give you anything other than their fan accounts, because 9 times out of 10, these companies have these things called chatterers. They hire people to, or they encourage, or they'll use some of their marketing budget to hire an agency to set up some basically telemarket. That's what this is. These are internet telemarketers. These are people who will comment on a video without watching the video just to slam you. These are people who don't subscribe to your content. These are people who don't follow you on social media, who always have their little cliques and clubs and queues and tribes in their profiles. They'll have pronouns, they'll have a wave for whatever political affiliation they have. They'll have all of these things, but they don't have anything like a personality or a photo of themselves. They always want to fight for all these things. And then what is it? What happens? They don't prove that they're even human. And this is what she's talking about. She wants to have a real human interaction with a real human person and get to know and understand where they're coming from, why they might be upset with that. That's what I'm interpreting that as, hey, let me tell you what I'm coming from, where I'm coming from. Let's have a discussion and talk to each other like we're two human beings, like we're not behind a wall of social media. And of course, the fact that she suggested that right as things were opening up, I can interject and I can speculate. If she's saying, hey, I want to take some of these people out to dinner or lunch, I want to actually talk. They probably felt that she was trying to harm them, because let's face it, how many of these people are still quarantining? How many of these people are still scared to leave their house? How many of these people are still, after all this time, you kept getting contradicting information. Oh, 1 minute it's not dangerous. 1 minute don't wear. 1 minute do. 1 minute don't. 1 minute wear 3, wear 4, wear 7. 1 minute, oh yeah, everything's fine. No need to worry. Next minute, Americans' lives will be impacted. Next minute, oh, it's to close the borders, and oh, you better go to that Chinese New Year celebration. And the next minute it's, oh, but you can't gather in crowds unless it's for this specific thing. So yeah, if you just see something like this and you're not a political person and you don't know what's going on, I can see why they would be offended that she wanted to take them to dinner, because they were so crazy and manipulated at this point. Last year, probably last spring, right at the beginning of the summer, that they would not leave their house. They would not leave their house because they were too afraid to. And that's fine if you don't want to catch it. No one's saying you have to go out. Nobody's saying that. If you want to be safe, be safe. Really, we're not saying one way or another on that. But I'm just saying that's where a lot of these people are coming from, and that's probably why they got so upset with her that she suggested it. Because they genuinely legit think that she was probably trying to harm them by taking them out to dinner.
Children or just bots or whoever the hell these people are.
Twitter rage mob.
Yeah, and they're awful. And I actually asked the LGBTQ community leaders for the trans section, I was like, why don't you guys address that? Mm-hmm. It might be healthier if you addressed what's happening, the aggressive push. And they didn't really have an answer to that.
No, they don't. That's the thing. They don't understand that that's actually damaging the community, right? That's actually damaging. Like, I can't speak for the BLM stuff. I can't speak for anything else, but I can speak as a woman. People like Anita Sarkeesian ruin it for women. As a bisexual person that doesn't like having to fucking drop that all the time, I do not like seeing how the LGBTQ or the transgender community, I do not like seeing how all of those people are supposed to be stereotyped as all the same all of a sudden. They're not the same. And I don't speak for them. I don't speak on behalf of them. I can speak on behalf of myself and say, I don't think this way. I don't see this as being a healthy representation of a community that is supposed to be so inclusive of people. It doesn't matter how they identify, how they were born, that they can do what they need to do to feel. And I don't even know if I'm describing it correctly. They can do what they need to do to feel comfortable in their own skin, because we have progressed and advanced to a point in society where we know that it doesn't hurt us if people want to change their gender. We know it doesn't affect anything. Unless you want to get into the athleticism of some of it, which is not the topic for today. But the fact that now people are going to be coming into the online communities, people are now going to be seeing this as, this is the representation of your transgendered or your LGBTQ communities, is immediately associated with hate mob. I don't want that. I don't want that in the same sentence as any community that I might identify with. Same thing as toxic fans. It is just as offensive as labeling all Star Wars fans as toxic fans when it's the hate mobs. It is clearly these marketing account hate mobs and the people who follow along, the sheep who follow along and recite back this rhetoric. RG says, keyword not day. What do you mean keyword not day? They're allowed to scream and shout and do as they do because of the freedom we have today. They should be happy already. Well, and I get it. We can still make the world more inclusive, but that also needs to include people who might disagree, people who might have different opinions or religious beliefs, right? And the fact that I'm somebody here, my only opinion of Ben Shapiro before knowing anything this past year was, oh, he's just some right-wing guy. Same thing with like a Tim Pool. All I knew about him was, oh, he's just some right-wing guy who complains about leftists. Didn't know until I actually watched. So the fact that these hate mobs have brought in this new socially accepted and condoned and conditioned prejudices and stereotypes. And I'm a victim of it. I see it all the time when I make assumptions of people. And I've made assumptions of people, and I don't like that I make assumptions of people. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to give people the benefit of the doubt, right? I'm trying to not have this stereotype of something I might not understand. And the fact that I'm coming in as somebody who is not political, who did not follow any of this stuff since like 1994 when I realized, oh, this side is just as stupid as the other one. Yeah, okay, I'm out. And I started listening to what George Carlin was saying. And I started listening to what Bill Hicks was saying back in the 90s, in the early 90s. When I would see a lot of this bullshit and a lot of this hypocritical crap. That's why I dipped out of politics, and the fact that I gotta come back into it, and a lot like Gina, I'm like, oh, you guys really don't know what the crap you're doing, do you? And now we've got a bunch of uneducated idiots allowed to do and say and think and affect things. And that's disgusting. That's terrifying. Oh, and thank you so much, somebody here, Growling Silver Gaming, happy belated birthday. Oh, thank you. We're actually going to be going over to my friend Jesse Miller's stream after this, so. Yes, and Carlin, we trust. We got more of this to get through. We're about 11 minutes in. I got to keep not stopping it. That's why I was going to speed him up.
So in a second, I want to ask you about how that ended up playing out over the subsequent few months, because we're moving through the sort of timeline here. We'll get to that in just 1 second. First, there's never been a more important time to protect your internet activity than the media post that you put up. That and thinking about a spin-off for The Mandalorian where you let's talk about what happened next. So months for free. Go to ExpressVPN, and they didn't issue in with the VPN I trust for online protection. Visit expressvpn.com/Ben to get 3 months free on a 1-year package. That's expressvpn.com/Ben to get 3 extra months for free. Go to expressvpn.com/Ben right now to learn more. Alrighty, so let's talk about what happened next. So you had this run-in with the higher-ups with regard to LGBTQ issues. That was essentially solved, but at the same time, they told you not to go on the press junkets, and they didn't want you speaking to the press. And then things, it seems like, were pretty quiet.
That's probably a good idea that they didn't want her speaking to the press because then they would twist anything she said and get rid of her sooner. So here's the other thing. How many of these people twist anything you say just so they can support a narrative?
Quiet up until about November. And the Hollywood Reporter later came out and they reported that Disney Plus and Lucasfilm were thinking about a spinoff for The Mandalorian where you would have a big role. They were going to present that to investors, and they decided that they were essentially going to kill that based on a couple of social media posts that you put up in November, particularly one with regard to voter fraud, and then one with regard to masks. So can you talk a little bit about that, and did they ever convey this to you?
Yeah, so, I mean, they actually sent over a media trainer, which I felt like, okay, I'm down, like, come on over. And
see, you get a media trainer. That's kind of one of the things that I think they need to have is somebody who says, hey, you can't post anything political on social media at all. Nothing that can be regarded as political if you're employed with a brand. I think that's what they need to do is just have actors scrub their social media accounts and not use them themselves. Just say, you know what? Set up a sock puppet and only use this to promote your show. Only tweet things like, here's our trailer. Here's my co-star's movie. Here's my movie. I think that's how celebrities probably should handle social media if they are working for other companies. Sadly, the double standard that she's going to be talking about in a second is that some of these people are allowed to post whatever they want with their leanings or their affiliations, and you're not allowed to question. You're only allowed to conform and do what they say and be on that team. You're not allowed to have a difference of opinion.
And she came in and she crossed her arms. She had her glasses on and she sat in the corner and she's been very cold. And she's in my house. And I ask her, I'm like, do you think you can take off your glasses so I can look you in your eyes and so we can have a conversation? Because, you know, and she was like, ready to hate me, I think. And then, you know, we went and we then sat down on the couch and we had a lovely conversation. And she said, look, you offered a logical answer to an emotional response. And that's not what they respond to. They're only going to, it only helps if you offer an emotional response to emotional response. And
which is crazy. So what? You're now supposed to handle these hate mobs by what? Bullying them back? By what? By apologizing? Is that either or, right? So you're supposed to handle these mobs by using these you can't respond with logic. You can't respond with reason. What does that sound like? You can't reason with it. They don't respond to logic. You said it. It's all about hate, Brian Sink says. Gina is well-spoken and reasonable. Rolando G says. That's the thing. You cannot respond to these people with, here's what I said. Now, if you interpreted it this way, if you saw it as this way, what does that say about you? Because they get mad, and I can tell you why they get mad. They get mad that they're being confronted with what they're doing. They're getting mad that they're being confronted with this viewpoint of theirs that is coming from their own hatred and prejudice, and they're mad when they're called out for it. They're mad when they're wrong. They're mad and I'm mad when I'm wrong too. I was mad when I was wrong about a few things. I was mad when I'm like, damn it, you guys are right. You guys are right. This person I should be listening to right now, this person I should be actually watching, I should have been watching years ago, because I just had this assumption, this generalization, this hatred of this person just based on what I thought of them by what you said, or by what people said, by what I was supposed to be told. Right? And I don't like listening to what other people say. I really, really don't. Why do I use that why do we do that? Why do we do that? Why do we take what other people say so seriously? Why do we hold what other people think and say as this be all end all sort of thing, right? I am very much one of those people. I will come to, if I need to find something, if I need to hear something, I know that the universe will provide that when I need it. It will be there for me when I'm ready to hear it. It will be there for me at the right time, at the right place. If there's a band I need to get into, they're going to come into my life at the exact right time. If there's a YouTube channel I need to pay attention to, that's going to show up in my feed, right? If there's a message I need to hear, somebody's going to send it to me. And under the right circumstances, I'm going to hear it and see it. And the fact that we are listening to these emotional children who react with emotion only, they can't be reasoned or logicked out of anything, right? You can't reason with them, you can't use logic. That should tell us all we need to know, that we're listening to the wrong people. We are listening to the loudest, most screamingest of people. And how many people are irrational and emotional and don't say anything intelligent? And how many people are just screaming and throwing temper tantrums, and the world is listening to them like they're grown up enough to have a point of view that's worth listening to? I'm sorry, I'm not listening to that fucking toddler throwing a temper tantrum in aisle 3 any more than I'm listening to the toddler on social media yelling at me, calling me an istinophobe, because it's the same goddamn thing. It's the same behavior. It is the loudest, most screamingest of brat behavior. Calling you and the new name for the Disney. I can't say that word, but you're absolutely right. And I probably have to cut that out of here. RJ, smart, sane, thoughtful, beautiful, strong woman. Of course, liberal hate woke canceled. The liberal hate woke canceled her. That's the thing. That's the thing. And they're not. I don't even think that's being liberal, because they will label anybody. They will label pro-choice LGBT people as Republican conservatives, right? They do that. And I hate getting political on this channel, because I hate politics, because I think it's all a bunch of bullshit. It's all a bunch of bullshit just designed to manipulate people into thinking they're mattering and having an effect on anything. When in reality, you got a couple of controlling interests who just use their little pawns and their little emotional temper tantrum spewing children just at the right place. They're using them like fucking swarms of bees. Excellent! They're using them like insects. And these people are like, oh, you said this about this person. Like, you're being used like a pawn. You're being used like a hornet. And is it any wonder that somebody like Gina comes along and pokes the hornet's nest and they all swarm? That's what happens. You get somebody like Gina who says, hey, I'm going to put beep bop boop in my bio because you guys are putting everything from Trash Panda to Meat Popsicle to whatever else you're putting. So why can't I? You don't go after everybody else. And that's what happens. You poke the hornet's nest and they swarm. And what they don't realize is that people like me and Gina are going to stomp on them and we're going to spray them all down. And that's why I love her. That's why I want to be Gina when I grow up. Can I be her? Can I be her?
That's what she told me. And I was like, well, I get that, but why can't you offer a logical answer? I mean, that should be your right to. My logical answer was, you guys kind of misinterpreted that. And there also is this massive mob out there that's just bullying people left and right. So I had a great conversation with her and she left beaming and I it was a great conversation. And it was
I want my delight!
And then, I don't know.
Thank you so much, Tags. These are special snowflake babies that need to melt already. May Gina be with you. And let me read the rest. And be the sun that melts them. Well, thank you so much, Tags. I really, really appreciate it. That's the thing. These little snowflakes, this little snowflake culture of people that really, really don't understand shit about shit are the ones we're actually listening to. How is it that those are the people we're listening to?
I voted.
and that really is, even according to the sources that have talked to the Hollywood media, essentially what happened is that they were still getting ready to feature you in the Disney shareholder meeting and all of this, and then decided that they were not going to do any of that. And according to people speaking to the Hollywood Reporter, they decided months in advance that they were essentially looking for an excuse to get rid of you. And I think
they were looking for an excuse to get rid of her beforehand, though. Also, thank you so much, Isaac the Dragonborn. I really appreciate it. My cousin told me he won't talk to me anymore since I didn't vote for his guy after all the negative crap he said about us black folks. Oh, wow. See, that's the thing. They don't understand. They don't see what a lot of people see. And they are... No matter which side of the aisle you're on, which side of the aisle you're on, I cannot understand how people get so emotional and passionate for their particular sides without understanding that there are just as many people who are just as emotional and just as passionate for the other side. And you both might have a little bit of truth in your sides, and you both might be wrong in a little bit of your sides. There's reason to hate both of these candidates. There was plenty of reason to hate both of these candidates if you really, really wanted to see it. And there's plenty of reason to vote for whichever choice you voted for. If you chose for, as long as you did. How do I say this? I hate taking political anything. You know what? If you want to vote to preserve taxes, and if you want to vote for financial reasons, and if you want to vote for whatever reason you want to vote for, you should not be shamed or shunned. If you want to vote because you were deeply offended by what this person said, you shouldn't be shamed or shunned. Either way. But at the same time, that doesn't give anybody a right to bully other people for voting for that person just because they offended you. Just because they offended you, or the media told you something that you're supposed to be offended by something that was out of context or edited weird, right? That's the other thing, because there's a lot of stuff that we see in this double standard with the media. There's a clear bias that I see as somebody who's like, wait a minute, this isn't what this person said at all. This isn't what this person said at all. I can see it right here. I can see this tweet. I can see the entire video clip. Nowhere does this say this, but your headline says this. And this is exactly the same thing with the Kelly Marie Tran, I will not be marginalized New York Times article. That one that they took completely out of context, where she's going after Hollywood and talking out and speaking out about how Hollywood was casting her as the Asian chick. Hollywood was ist and phobic. And they use that to slam the audience. They use that to slam the viewing audience, to paint us like we are the bad guys just to protect their own. And I think that's what a lot of this does. I think that's what a lot of this boils down to, is that they're using these woke mobs to protect their own interests, to protect their own asses, to protect their own assets in a lot of ways, because they know that once their dirty laundry comes out, once that pretty much all of these major executives in some way or another, they all have something. They all have some reason for you to shun them, shame them, hate them, something for them to be canceled by. And as long as they focus on somebody lower on the tier, some up-and-coming actress, somebody that they can get rid of easily, or somebody they can think they can get rid of easy, somebody they underestimate, like an MMA fighter, like the face of the MMA, basically. Then they realize, oh shit, we made a mistake.
Conveyed any of that to you, or how did you find out that they had decided not to bring you on for more at Disney Plus and Lucasfilm?
You know, like boxers headhunt sometimes and they forget to go to the body. I feel like Disney or Lucasfilm or whoever it is, maybe just certain people in that company, I feel like I've been being headhunted for the last, I don't know how many months. And you can feel it, you know, like just a couple weeks ago, Lucasfilm asked an artist that they employ to erase my character and put a different character in place. And, you know, he proudly announces this on Twitter and erases my character and puts, you know, another character in place. And all of the fans of Cara Dune were just outraged. You know, they're like, why didn't you just add the character? Why did you have
It's a good point. Why didn't they just add her? Because they wanted to remove her, because Kathy is sending a message that you do not cross me, that I am still in control, and if you piss me off and you don't do as you're told, that we can ruin you and we can ruin Jon Favreau's income for any profit that he makes from your character, any residuals, anything. It's just basically a slap in the face. Kathleen Kennedy and that side of Lucasfilm, I think they honestly think that the only people who like Cara Dune are the 40-year-old white conservative dudes, right? I think they don't realize that she has slowly become, like, just because of the actress who plays her, she has slowly become an actual feminist icon. She has actually become this role model. She has become the very character that Kathleen Kennedy has been trying to make with Rey for all this time. And it pisses off Kathleen Kennedy that you have somebody who comes along and does it better. You have a man who brings in a much better female character, and she cannot stand that. And she cannot stand that, and I think that's part of why they wanted to get rid of Cara Dune. And it just was icing on the cake that, oh good, she's conservative. We can get rid of her now because we can use anything. Because I think they were trying for her earlier. I think it was already a thorn in Kathleen Kennedy's side, as per the hit pieces that they were writing in 2019 about Cara Dune, about the character, about, oh well, people don't like it. People call this character SJW-y. And they were already trying to paint this character in a negative light. They were already trying to paint this character as somebody that they would be setting up for a failure, setting up to be the next Rose Tico. And it pissed off Kathleen Kennedy that didn't happen. And not only did that not happen, then the more that the woke mobs came after her, the more we defended her, the more we circled to protect her. Not that she needs us, to. She certainly can do it on her own, and she can be the type of person who would be protecting all of us. She would be the front one in the battle. She's Xena out there, and we're just the people there. You know what? Yeah, we're gonna be right behind you. We're gonna be right behind you, and we're gonna stand up to Kathy. We're gonna stand up to this camp at Lucasfilm. And they don't realize that. DJ Tyrant, I love your content. This is my first time on a live stream. Well, thank you so much, DJ Tyrant. I really appreciate you being here. And MJ1 Videos, thank you so much. I made my vote based on my principles. Excellent! Jeffrey Turner, by the way, I rebranded. Okay, Shapiro talks like a medical disclaimer. Fear toxin may induce psychological trauma. Yeah, this is my first time really hearing him about anything. My only other exposure to him, to Ben Shapiro, was when Todd in the Shadows actually did a video on him, actually. So Todd in the Shadows did a video on what Ben Shapiro said about that Cardi B song. You know, the Cardi B song where she's got her drippy snatch, the sloppy, loose, drippy snatch all over the screen, and it's just a gaping vagina hole all over the front of your screen. So that's the only time I really I've really heard that, as somebody who absolutely hates conservatives. As far as, you know, his but I did learn a couple of things. I did learn a couple of things by watching. I'm like, okay, I can see why. I can see why. If like that's, you know, your enough is enough on that and you're more focused on that thing. Okay, I got it. So I highly recommend if people do want to check that out. Todd in the Shadows did a review of that Cardi B song about her dripping, gaping, loose and sloppy vagina. That was mostly talking about how Ben Shapiro hated it. So, you know, it was kind of enlightening and eye-opening in a few regards. But yes. Oh, and thank you so much. RJ, love your channel. I've walked away from, love your channel. I've walked away from blind party loyalty in the MSN over 10 years ago and life is better. Well, thank you. That's kind of how I was with entertainment too. I wasn't really watching a lot of the mainstream shit. I wasn't really paying attention until like, oh, Star Trek's coming back. Okay, Star Trek's coming back. I'm in. And it was shit and I hated it. Oh, Lord. Cardi B wants to be Little Kim and failed. Well, how many more of these nasty, trashy women do we need littering our music anyway? Like, we already got one. We already got a Nicki Minaj shaking her ass everywhere. Then we got Cardi B. Then we got Megan Thee Stallion. Is there anything unique about any of these people? Because they're all the same person. Then you got Lizzo's just a fat version. Oh, she's not even fat anymore. And I can't even say that because you're body shaming and you're racist. Suck my ass. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. Is it 420 yet? Is it 420 yet? Oh, Lord.
Mystic, back.
I'm taking a second.
Mystic,
some sugar.
back, mystic back.
Or not. Oh, I love my soundboard. I'm gonna use it when I do the big mega streams with people. Oh, Lord. Back to the interview, I suppose. It's 420 at Cynical Lindsay's house. Oh, here we go.
Have to take off the character is there's something wrong? Is Gina getting fired? I've been through so much and I've seen so much now clearly of like the bullying that's been taking place. And I saw it before.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, I mean, I'm not the only one that's ever been bullied by this company. And I know that so deeply that I could share a story and it would turn things around in the media, but I can't do that because it would be selling out. A friend that I don't really have the same views as, but I'm not gonna, sell out somebody to take the attention off me. So
And that's really the key. That says everything right there. I'm not going to sell somebody out to take the attention off of me. That says to me that somebody said, "Hey, but look at what this person is doing. Look at what Gina did. Look, she's not as left-leaning as the rest of us. She might very well be a conservative, so we have to shun her and shame her." That's what that says to me. That somebody that she works with on set might have actually done that. Somebody backstabbed her. Somebody that she is hurt very deeply by. Somebody that, because she's not the type of person who's going to go and drag somebody else through the mud. She's not a horrible person like that. From every interview I've seen of this woman, she is the type of person who, if somebody's getting picked on, she's going to come in and she's going to take out the person picking on somebody. She's going to beat the crap out of them and she's going to win because she's a winner. And that's why I want to be Gina when I grow up, because she is exactly the type of person who fights for the underdog. And what happens when you're a decent, halfway normal human being who doesn't want to hurt others, who doesn't want to sell everybody out, who doesn't want to destroy lives? Then what happens? Then they turn on you. So this to me, so we were speculating yesterday on the Midnights After Dark stream that it might be Carl Weathers. I don't think he would have sold her out. I'm thinking that she's speaking of a few different instances here. So she might be protecting Carl Weathers. She might be protecting Pedro Pascal. She might be protecting Jon Favreau. She might know exactly how to pull the wool over, or pull the wool off of the eyes, I guess, because we're getting the wool pulled over our eyes all over the place with what these companies and these narratives and what these media sources and outlets run. Like, they will always twist, take out of context. They run headlines with zero proof. They run, like the Kelly Marie Tran story. They were running that with zero evidence of anything other than, oh, somebody deleted their social media. That's it. Gina stands for others, and that's why they hate her. And that's why they hate her, because she's going to stand up for other people.
If that person said something about how hard I went to bat for that person, it would change things. But everybody's afraid of losing their job.
So
everyone's afraid of losing their job there. It's a toxic workplace. Clearly a toxic workplace. Clearly this environment. See, now I'm wondering if it wasn't Jon Favreau. Because Jon Favreau is politically aligned with what Hollywood approves of. And he is very much one of those people where Kathleen Kennedy, if you believe any of this tug of war that we keep getting evidence of, the more evidence, every day we get more evidence of this. This whole interview was just evidence and confirmation that there's a giant tug of war behind the scenes at Lucasfilm. So I'm wondering if Gina didn't try and go and bat for Jon Favreau, if that was something, or Carl Weathers or Pedro or any of them. Now, obviously, we can only just speculate, but she seems the type of person where she's not going to go and sell out her co-stars and ruin their lives and blacklist them out of Hollywood just to benefit herself. She's not the type of person to do that. And that's so much more admirable than most of these Hollywood types.
They announced publicly that you're not coming back after this post that you put on social media, and we'll get to the content of the post in just a second. Did they ever come to you and ask for an apology? Did they ever come to you and coordinate with you in any way? Or did you just essentially pick up a newspaper one day and you read that you were no longer on the show?
I looked on the internet and, you check your Twitter and I'm trending. And the Fire Gina Carano hashtag worked.
So Disney never contacted you and asked for some sort of back down or some sort of explanation. It was just, you're done and you find out essentially the same way everybody else did?
Well, yeah. I mean, I saw somebody from the company accidentally sent me a conversation of that they were
Was it
tracking
accidentally or on purpose?
the Fire Gina Carano hashtag on content that had nothing to do with me. It was actually had zero to do with me. And then all of a sudden,
I can kind of remember this day a little bit. So this was a couple of days after the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl stuff was still pretty much trending. They had just removed Aunt Jemima from the label. There was a lot of other hashtags coming into play. I think they had just canceled somebody else, and they're like, since we're already here, let's cancel Gina Carano. And they were trying to trend that again. And it's always the same little bot accounts who just have it out for you. Like yesterday, we had that part of a plane fall off, and Pratt was trending, right? And Pratt was trending, and they took that opportunity immediately to send the mobs after Chris Pratt, because we know he's going to be next on their chopping block, because he doesn't conform. He doesn't align with the little wokey woke Hollywood studios. He's his own person. He does his own thing. And I kept seeing so many people slandering and slamming him in a tweet that I wrote last night that said, if you cancel Chris Pratt, Disney, we are on to you and this is over. You don't get to cancel him right now. You do not get to. We're tired of you canceling people. You're going to have hell to pay if you're going to cancel him. And of course you get slammed with, here's everything he did that was wrong and here's why we're offended by him. And if you don't stand up, then you're just as guilty. And I'm like, okay, hold up, hold your horses. I have been told to know my place, stay in my lane, that I do not speak for other people, that I do not speak on behalf of whatever group that you're trying to make me speak for. So I will get ostracized or criticized either way. And that's another one of those things that need to be addressed with these woke mobs. That's what she was trying to bring attention to, these mobs of people where they want you to gang up on other people. They want you to jump other people into their gang. And that's how Hollywood works. That's how the social media Hollywood interactions work. If you are not actively against these actors and actresses on social media that politically align differently than Hollywood, then you might as well be on the other team. You might as well be other. You might as well be the istaphobe that they think you are, and you get stereotyped into this shit.
I always get thrown in the mix. Like, okay, so this is trending, but let's put her in there, Fire Gina Carano. And they accidentally sent me an email, which was very enlightening. So I knew they were paying attention. I know that there's some people that went to bat for me, but I know that they didn't really win out in the end.
So let's talk about some of the controversial social media posts.
You can't really win out against the woke mobs either.
Because I think it's good for you to be able to explain exactly what you meant by this stuff, since people have deliberately misinterpreted nearly everything.
Yeah.
So there are a few of them. There was the one right after the election in which you essentially said something that I think virtually all conservatives believe, which is if you want to stop voter fraud, you need a voter ID. We need to tighten up the voter procedures. For some reason,
as somebody who's not a political person, I gotta ask this question. Why do people think that some ethnicities are incapable? Like somebody tried to link me some article. I'm like, you know what? Sorry. If you believe so little of a minority to think that they are incapable of getting an ID, just an identification card. I mean, isn't that racist to think to think so? Oh, they can't do any better. They can't be held to, grown adult human standards. No. They're just subspecies of people, so they can't get an ID themselves. They can't work the internet. They don't know how to do any of this. So isn't it more istophobic to assume that people are incapable of being adults and being functional members of society? Isn't that more racist to think that they can't do any better? Sorry, just asking a question here.
And people found this very controversial.
Right.
So that one seems fairly self-explanatory to me.
Yeah, well, this is not something I say with pride, but it was my first time voting. I have never voted before. And I know I'm late to the game here, but I never really thought that it counted. And politicians had never.
When I don't vote either. At least I try not to. Unless I feel like I absolutely have to, because my taxes will go up. Now, here's the thing. It doesn't matter when Time Magazine runs articles stating that it doesn't matter who you vote for. We're going to control what the people see, and we're going to make sure they vote how we want them to. So it does. And I'm not stating one way or another here.
It really turned me on. And so I don't pay attention to things that don't really turn me on. I pay my taxes, and I pay a lot of taxes. And so I just figure, okay, I'm doing my duty, and I'm just going to keep on fighting. What I've been trying to do is just get my career going and keep on plugging through to where I can get, this bigger opportunity. The mail-in thing, we got an extra mail-in. Everybody I talked to got an extra mail-in ballot. And so I'm like, okay, so this is my first time voting. I'm going to go in and I'm going to take this and I'm going to do my part so that way I can actually talk about it. Because everybody says, you can't talk about it unless you vote. And so I agreed with them. So I never talked about it. And then when I went in, I was ready with my ID, and I've got and they just asked my name and they asked my address.
See, they're going to demonize you if you don't vote, though. It's like you have to vote, but you have to vote for our guy. You have to vote, but you have to vote for our guy, or else you're an istophobe. And that is terrifying. That is disgusting to me.
And I don't even remember if there was a signature required or not. And we have masks over our face. And I'm ready with my ID to vote because that's what, And they were like, no, you're fine. Just go. And I was like, what? You're not going to check this? This is an important thing that I'm trying to do right now. I'm actually, I want this to count. And so that was very confusing for me. And so if
I got to use an ID to get on a plane, if I have to use an ID to make purchases at dispensaries, if I have to use an ID for pretty much anything else in life, I have no problem with showing an ID if I'm there trying to affect the decisions and the taxes and the laws of my area, right? I don't see, and none of this shit of you could say, oh, well, they make it because this and this and this and Republic, fuck off. I don't care who made what. I don't think people are so less than human that they can't get off their butts and actually take some damn responsibility for them. Sorry, I don't. If I have to, everybody else fucking does. Sorry, I don't get a pass. You don't either.
When the election, happened and everything was, I was just like, wait, why? I feel like there's a lot of outrage about this. And this is confusing to me as a newcomer into this. And so I just thought, well, the experience I went through was there was no ID, there was no cameras. It was on the beach, actually. It was in this little hut on the beach. And it was very, I thought that this could be a positive thing and we should probably jump on this now if this would ever be a future, because people in 2016 were talking about it. So it's not something that nobody was ever talking about. And so I was like, well, let's get to the point as a nation where we don't have to really question this anymore, because I think that's a really dangerous thing. And I wanted this all to end. And I wanted it to be like, okay, this is your new president, or this is the remaining president, and let's get past it and like join and go.
This, oh, that is so refreshing to hear. See, that's one of those things. If you are somebody like me who does not care about politics, you don't want to hear people bitching for years and years and years. You don't want to hear people fucking dragging it out. Oh, you cheated. They cheated. I didn't vote for anybody in 2016. Don't you fucking blame me for anything, right? Don't you goddamn fucking blame me for anything. And if you want to say this and this and this about how oh, he cheated. I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care. If you make it so that it is secure and there is no question, then you won't have this. Then you won't have the goddamn arguments. Grow up and be fucking adults and secure the damn thing. And I don't think that anybody should be disagreeing, and I don't think that's that controversial of a take on anything. Sorry. If you cannot take responsibility and secure your shit, then you have no right to complain if anybody questions it the next time. If you have no right. If you have been bitching for 4 years, you have no right to complain. I hate the goddamn double standard. And then they're going to say, you're just a supporter. No, I hate humans, because humans kind of suck sometimes, because we're crazy and we disagree and we bicker and we form teams. And I hate these teams because the teams always turn on you, don't they? The teams always kick you out if you're not part of their group enough. Oh, I hate it. Oh.
And it didn't stop at, it didn't stop from there. And I wanted everything to stop from there. And so that's why I put out that post.
Well,
so as I say, that one was, to my eyes, very uncontroversial. Then you put up one that, again, was fairly commonplace thought in conservative circles. You put up a meme about taking the mask off your eyes so you can see what's really going on.
Right, yeah.
And the way I interpreted that, and virtually every other conservative I know, was all you were saying is that a lot of the stuff that's been presented about COVID has been exaggerated or not based on science or based on politics.
And just bouncing around. It's just been bouncing back and forth. And it's like
and that's just like the coof stuff. And that's, I wanna interject on my own personal experience here while we're doing this, which I'll probably cut out of any. You probably won't see this clipped. When I went to Las Vegas last year in January. So when I went to Las Vegas last year in January, I was paying attention. I was tracking, like, oh, there's this new flu coming in from China. And the CDC says it's nothing to worry about. And this was January of 2020, right? So I went to Vegas in January 2020, came back, was sicker than I have ever been in my life. I could not get out of bed for 3 days while I was there. I even ended up having to spend another what, $50 on the hotel just to stay in bed another hour, just so I could stay in bed another hour, because I could not get out of bed. I didn't eat for 3 days straight. I went from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in bed the entire like 3 days of that trip. I did not get out of bed to shower. I did not get out of bed to eat. I had a fever. I had a dry cough. I was sweating. I had cold sweats the whole time. And I was miserable. I was coughing. I was told that there was no big deal. There's nothing to worry about. And when I got home, going through what I did with all the Chinese tourists coming in for Chinese New Year, with Vegas being crowded and flooded, and before there was sanitizer, before there was masks anywhere, I got home, and after about 6 weeks, it finally got out of my system. And yeah, I had some hard time breathing here and there, but I just kind of chalked it up to edibles and living in Colorado with no oxygen. And the fact that in January I was told it was not a big deal. In January we were told by the CDC and the World Health Organization things that were completely contradicting to anything. And that every time we had somebody in charge say, all right, we're going to close the borders, and it was called racist to do so. And every time we had somebody trying to, okay, well, what do you want? And that was the thing. He never fucking said, all right, you won't let me fucking do anything. What do you want me to do that you won't bitch about? And that's what it really should have got. That's what he should have just said. He should have stopped trying to make everybody like him. He should have said, look, I'm going to be fucked no matter what I do. So what am I allowed to do that you people will not fucking rage over? And that's what he should have done. And that's why I'm fucking disappointed. And that's why I don't like either side of the fucking aisle, because you have the one side who doesn't have the balls to say that the other side won't let them do anything. And it's not okay. It is not okay with me. This is why I hate politics. because it's just this tug of war constantly. I'm trying to click play and I'm
masks are
missing.
bad. Okay, now masks are good. And now, it's just been like all over the place. So since we're sitting there like, wait, what is going on? Just confusion. So with that one though, I live in.
See, she's absolutely right. She's absolutely right here. I got to interject again. She's absolutely right that you're somebody who doesn't know because you're not political. You're not part of these tribes, and you don't realize that if you get on social media and you have these people incorporating this as you can't protest unless you're protesting for this other thing. You can't protest a lockdown because the government said this, because this person on this side said this thing, and we're only going by this side of what the government is saying instead of this other side, and we're using this against you because we don't like you. And I got so tired of that. Wes Moody, thank you so much for the super sticker.
Excellent.
Thank you so much. And it should be gone by now if we just let it fucking run its course.
I've seen the hypocrisy that's been happening.
My opinion.
They're going to the French Laundry and they don't have masks on, and there's just been so much hypocrisy. And they have those like little edited videos where you can see the Democrat leaders just like completely the hypocrite. Like, it was like, I just always laugh. I'm like, this is like hypocrisy 2020. And so
you're going to bitch at me and tell me I got to wear a mask and I can't get my hair done. Then what the fuck are you doing wearing a mask or not wearing a mask and getting your hair done, right? If you're telling me I have to wear a mask and I can't get my hair done, why are you doing it? If you're telling me all these things, if you're telling me I can't do this and you do the exact same thing, then maybe I'm not going to believe you, and I don't fucking care. And I know, and just because your little tribe and team of people are so bullied into submission, it doesn't mean I'm on the other fucking side just because you've labeled me that.
So I just like put that out because I thought that was like a good way to convey that we need to start paying attention to the hypocrisy. So for me, it was just like open your eyes.
So those two, again, were really, to my eyes, for conservatives particularly, very uncontroversial. Then we got to the one that they decided was worthwhile getting rid of you over. We'll get to the social media post that had to do with the Holocaust in just 1 second. First, let's talk about your sleep quality. You may have noticed that sometimes I look super tired because I have 3 children.
I don't care
and you
about
may have
your
noticed,
commercial,
mattress
dude.
is great for. You don't need to take my word. Indeed, fantastic. Right now, Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/Ben. That's helixsleep.com/Ben for the special deal. Go check them out.
I don't care.
Let's talk about these.
Oh, now we're going to get into that. We're going to get into the meat of it. Bye, Red. Have a good one. Can't eat at restaurants. Well, thanks for being here. Everybody. And for everybody who's going over to... For everybody who's going over to Jesse Miller's birthday, I will be there as soon as I can. I want to at least get through the meat of this, and then she'll get into the MMA stuff and what her movie's like. So we're not going to do the whole entire thing, but we want to talk at least about this one. So if I'm not over there right away, it is only because I'm talking too much, and I'm going to try not to. So. But wait, there's more. And here's where we're going to get into the meat of this, where she's actually learning about some of the posts that she said. And this is why I keep saying every single time that these people want to call her out, they're reading into something that she never said or meant or intended. And it's just their own isms and phobias that they're projecting into the situation.
Social media post that brought the world down around your ears. This is a social media post in which essentially you were making the argument that bad things, the way you treat your neighbor can slide over into actual oppression of your neighbor. So there's a picture of a woman, a Jewish woman in the Holocaust running away from Germans. And the caption essentially made the argument that Nazis didn't start by killing people and common Germans didn't start by going along with the Holocaust. This all started by people dehumanizing people who live next door to them.
Mm-hmm.
And the reaction to this was that somehow you were attempting to downplay the Holocaust or that you were comparing Republicans to Holocaust victims or something like that. I wanted to give you a chance to sort of explain what you were thinking and what you meant by that.
I am so inspired by like the gentle spirit of the Jewish people.
Before she answers, this is classic projection to me, that they would see that and be so outraged by what she's saying that they would attack and yell and scream. This is what I said earlier in the stream today, is that they see what they're doing and then they realize it and they get angry because of it. And they have to attack the person who pointed out, who held the mirror up to their face. They have to attack the person who had the guts to make a statement saying, hey, maybe this is what happened in the past. This is what happened in history. And the fact that these people read so much into it that they jumped 20 steps in conclusion and said, and assumed and alleged and realized and implied and put that into their own spin that this is what's happening, only confirms their guilt. It only confirms that that's exactly what they're doing. Why else would they be so upset by it? And then they'd have to spin it and say, "Oh, you're just denying the severity of what happened. You're just being anti this person because you're downplaying the severity of it." And she's in no way downplaying the severity of it. She's saying, "Hey, people were pretty damn horrible to each other back then." And remind you of anything. And there's been posts where she's held a mirror just up to other people. The post was called Reflection. It was a Twitter post. And that's all she's doing. She's just holding a mirror up. And they get so mad with what they're seeing that they have to attack her for it.
Going through that time. And, I think I watched this older Holocaust survivor, her court case, and they found this old Nazi man, and he was old, and they rolled him in on a stretcher, and they really played this up, and she forgave him. She forgave him in court after putting her through what he did, and she faced him. And I'm always so inspired by these stories, and I always wondered how did that happen? You know what I mean? So when I posted that, it wasn't something that I felt like was controversial. It was something that I thought, well, maybe all of us need to ask ourselves how that happened. Because, it's important. The post never said anything about Republicans or conservatives. It doesn't say anything about that in there. It was more about people tearing each other apart. And I thought it would be more of a thing where you bring people together. I was like, oh, this is bring people together. But now after hearing so much, and I'm actually grown through the experience of just knowing that, that's, it's not fair to the Jewish community to just throw this out here so much, when you say the word Nazi and when you call someone a Nazi, and you need to have a little bit more respect on it. And so I understand that, but it was no way my intention. I've got every single big publication saying she's comparing conservatives and Republicans to this. And
they're putting their own spin. They're interjecting. They're filling in the blanks for themselves based on what they know. They know they're doing. Based on what they know they're doing. They know that they're turning people against each other. They know that they're grouping and categorizing and deeming some people less than. And whether you're political leaning or not, you can clearly see a bias of hatred is acceptable coming from some people. Some people are allowed to say anything they want against other groups of people, just in general, and that's always been a bad thing. Generalizing, stereotyping, lumping everybody together in this less than human, socially accepted group of people to hate is exactly where a lot of the bad things start. It is exactly where a lot of the bad things start, and I would actually interpret what she said is, hey, we don't want to be this. None of us want to be on either side of this. Can we just wake up and see what we're doing? None of us want to be on either side of this. None of us want to be on the receiving or the sending end. None of us want to be on the side of anything. And what's so sad and what's so infuriating about a lot of these people, and that's why the first thing they do is go to attack and yell and scream and demonize, because they know in their hearts that they're being exposed for their own hatred. And they don't like that. They don't like that about themselves, and they have to lash out at others to hurt other people before they can make themselves make their own existence justifiable in their own hearts. Because if you ask these people to justify their own existence, they wouldn't be able to. A lot of them wouldn't be able to. They have so little self-esteem. They have so little self-worth. They are constantly trying to find something to make themselves unique, special, interesting. And it's sad that we're to the point where we have infinite connectability. We can connect. I can connect to anybody on the planet right now. I'm talking to people all over the world right now. From my own office, alone in my apartment. Alone, from a spare room in my apartment alone. And at the end of the day, these people realize, and I think they realize on a subconscious level, they don't even realize fully that they are alone. That they are alone and angry and sad and miserable. And it is so much easier to replace and to bury that with hate and anger. It is so much easier to cover up the hurt by being mad at something. I know, I do it all the time. I do it all the time when I yell and I rant about Star Wars or Star Trek. Because it's a healthier alternative. It's a healthy outlet to say, you know what, I want my escapism and I don't want you fucking up my escapism with your BS, with your politics. And the fact that all these nasty, horrible, lonely people are bringing their own hatred and loathing and resentment. They're mad that they got a useless degree. They're mad they're in debt. They're mad they don't have a purpose in life. They're mad they don't have something that makes them feel fulfilled. They are mad at you for it, and they blame you for it because they're told that they have to blame everybody else for their own life and their failures. And they are mad. They are mad that the world is not a fair place. They are mad that bad things happen to good people all the time. They are mad that bad people get rewarded all the time. They are mad. And I see it. It's infuriating. And there's so little that you can really, really do until you get to the point where you realize that that's what's really going on. You're just mad at your own inner hatred or inner hatred, inner workings, internal hatred of others. You're mad about that because you're realizing that's what's happening. And they can't go out against it. They can't break out of the mold. They can't break out of their group. Because then that's terrifying because a lot of us don't know where to go after that. A lot of us realize, oh shit, we're not actually we don't want to be a part of this anymore. We don't want to be a part of this circle or this clique. And they have nowhere to go, and they find a community of people who also hated The Last Jedi or also didn't like Star Trek Discovery. And it's like, yeah, did they call you a Republican too? Yeah, they called me that. Have you voted in 20? Nope, me neither. And that's what always happens, and it just gets disgusting.
That's not really what I was doing. I was saying we as a people, because I still am very fresh to this political, spectrum. I mean, I have love for everyone. I'm not a hateful person. In fact, I go out of my way, and I have gone out of my way my entire life not to be a hateful person. I mean, yeah, I've fought in the ring, and I do have hot blood, but it's usually hot blood when it deals with people being bullied. And when I saw people being bullied that were silenced and scared to speak, I don't want to speak. I want to create art, but I have a big problem with bullies, and I have a big problem with, I don't have a problem with power. I have a huge problem with abuse of power.
Well, I mean,
And if they want to label that as a political affiliation or a leaning for people who also feel that way without a political context, that's on them, and that's what they usually do. That's what they usually do.
It was fair, and look, it was obvious to everybody, and I said this to you when we first spoke, that it was obvious that this had nothing to do with anti-Semitism. The post obviously was not anti-Semitic. You'd have to completely twist the post backwards in order to get to the idea that it was anti-Semitic, since it was specifically decrying the treatment of Jews. It was saying what happened to Jews was evil, and this should never happen again, and that's why you should be careful about how you treat your neighbor.
Yeah. And the fact that the media still is painting this as quote-unquote anti-Semitic, right? This should tell you all you need to know. When you have somebody like Ben Shapiro, who I know nothing of other than he's a conservative Jewish guy that the media tells me I'm not supposed to listen to, that the media has a problem with, right? When somebody who knows a little bit more about the Jewish community than somebody like me says, no, this is in no way anti-Semitic. This is just one of many wake-up calls that I think a lot of us are having in this day and age, especially since 2020. And that is what is so terrifying to people. That is why things are escalating. That's why people are getting angrier and angrier, is because we're lifting the veil. We're seeing behind the curtain. We're seeing what's actually going on, and we're seeing how we're being gaslighted. We're seeing how we're being directed, how information is being flowed just to create and assert a certain message and narrative. Whether it's true or not, if anybody has any reason to think that what she said was against a Jewish person or the community, or belittles or minimalizes it, then they clearly didn't read the post and have no understanding of history. And that is what is so infuriating to me, is like every time I argue with somebody on social media, they don't know what the crap they're talking about. They've never seen or heard of or dealt with life or humanity beforehand. These are the people who will say, oh, Star Wars is always just a bunch of old white dudes, and I can pull up a premiere night screener from Return of the Jedi saying, hey, here's a bunch of diverse people talking about how much they love Return of the Jedi. You're wrong. You're incorrect. You're historically, factually incorrect. This is not what happened. And the fact that people argue a bunch of fake shit that doesn't actually happen and yell and bully you into conforming, into you submitting just so that you believe their nonsense and their bullshit and their double talk and their lies, is all you really need to know. I mean, the second you wake up to that, your whole world changes. And that's what happened when I'm sitting there sick as a dog on social media looking to see, okay, am I going to die? Do I want to get tested? Do I not want to get tested for this thing that I had in January? Because, I mean, if you guys are, I don't know how much I'm cutting this or where I'm clipping this, but I was told an anecdote of how I was really sick in January, and I was told it was not going to be a big deal. And then the world closes down, and then we're like 15 days to slow the spread. And I'm like, should I get tested? If I get tested, will I ever be seen again? Are they going to dissect me because I don't know what's going on? Because they're treating this like it's like we're gonna have Eric Idle coming around with a wheelbarrow saying, bring out your dead. And that's not what happened, and that's not the case. And the fact that we're here right now and everything, if you look outside, everything's not fine and normal. You see on the media, you see stuff being burned down and torn down, and you actually look at the video of something else and you're like, wait a minute, this is just some confused people wandering around inside. This isn't anything you're telling me this is, but this is supposed to be peaceful. You see this bullshit, and you can only believe a lie so many times until you wake up to the truth of it.
The Jewish community is, I think, properly very sensitive about Holocaust comparisons. And so, I myself on my show said that we have to be careful about when we invoke the Holocaust. But here's the thing. Disney Plus and Lucasfilm don't care how you invoke the Holocaust if you happen to be of a different political persuasion.
No.
And I pointed out on Twitter right away, as soon as this broke, that Pedro Pascal, who was your co-star in The Mandalorian, the lead in that show, that Pedro Pascal had put out a Holocaust meme in 2018 in which he not only got the facts wrong, he actually posted a picture from not the American border in 2018 and called it America 2018. He then compared the treatment of migrant children in 2018 to victims of the Holocaust in 1941, which is absolutely absurd on every level. And of course, Disney Plus and Lucasfilm had no problem with that whatsoever. They never said anything about it. They never responded to the comparison. They never said that it was anti-Jewish.
It's a double standard. Not only is it a double standard, it's whatever they want to paint you as. She could have just posted a picture of a black background with nothing on it, and they would have said, "You're mocking Black Lives Matter, She could have posted nothing. She could have posted a blank canvas, and they said, "See, you put up a white background and a white thing, therefore you're a white supremacist." It's all in how they want to paint you if they hate you and demonize you. Gee, where else have we seen that before in history?
Or anti-Semitic to make that comparison in any way. There's pretty obviously a double standard at play here.
Oh, and there has been. I mean, they've been all over me, and they've been watching me like a hawk. And I'm watching, other people on the same production, and they can say everything they want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I had a problem. I had a problem because I wasn't going along with the narrative. And you know what? I adore Pedro. I adore him. I know he's said and done some hurtful things. I don't think that posting anybody's number on social media is okay. But I know that, he thinks a lot of the stuff that I post, like but there's so much love there still, you know? And we had agreement after we realized we were a little bit politically different. We had an agreement that first and foremost, you're a human being and you're my friend first. And, you know, the two sides that, you know, were trying to like drag us apart because we're both passionate. And, you know, and that's what's been really crazy is like you see these people over here being so passionate. You see people over here being so passionate. And I love that we're just both passionate, you know? And we think a little bit differently, I think, through our different experiences. So I know.
I'm gonna pause it again and interject here. That's what people don't understand is that somebody is going to have a complete opposite opinion of you and be just as passionate, if not more so. And the fact that one side is allowed to and the other side isn't is terrifying. It is terrifying that we're not allowed to see and hear both sides of the argument. It is terrifying to be in a day and an age where, you know, I never had any great love for people that I disagreed with. I just disregarded their opinions, right? I'm like, you just don't know what you're talking about. And then I moved on about my day. And then I moved on about my day until, you know, unless they were, you know, blowing out of an abortion clinic or something. It's like, you protest all you want. You're not harming me. You do what you want to do. Do what you want to do if you don't want to do that. We're not there anymore. We're not there anymore. We are to the point where people actively feel like they are in danger if you have a different opinion. They actually believe that you're going to harm them if you are on a political opposition, right? If you're on an opposing side. And as somebody who does not pay that close attention to these things, does not take sides in that, I find that to be very, very terrifying. And I see one side of people who can pretty much be pretty reasonable, pretty intelligent, pretty logical in a lot of their, a little snarky and a little bit smartassery on one side. And the other side is all emotion, hate, rage, crazy, tribe, cult, crazy, crazy, crazy. So which side am I going to actually want to have a conversation with, and which side am I going to mute and block? Right? I'm going to mute and block the people who are yelling at me, telling me why I need to go after other people on there. And like, I'm not going after anybody that I don't want to go after, right? First off, I'm not going to go after anybody because you say I should be offended by them. I'm going to go after somebody who actually offends me. I'm going to go after somebody, and I'm not going to go after them to their face either. I'm not going after them, getting them fired. I'm not going after them to try and get rid of them. I'm not going after them to try and ruin their lives or destroy their careers. I try and point out the hypocrisy. I try and say, hey, by saying this, you're being off-putting to your fan base. And that's as far as we were going until she got fired. Then I'm like, you know what? Get rid of this person and this person and this person and this person, and I'm done. If they want to play by these rules, we can play by these rules and cancel everybody. But that's not going to be what's going to happen because no, then they think, oh, you're on this other side. Now you're less than. Now you're not human anymore. Which is exactly the point of why they're probably so angry in that post. That's Steven Seagal, thank you so much. Coming after someone's soul deserves no respect. Right? And that's what they do. And thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm going to try and get more of this interview done.
I know that we both have misstepped on our tweets, we're not perfect,
he did too.
Human beings. But he's not a bad human being. He's a sweet person.
Well, I don't think anybody thinks that any different. I think that the disparate.
I don't think Pedro Pascal is is a decent person based on what I've seen him post, because he's flat out taunted and antagonized people in our community. He's posted people's private information. He's stepped over the line. So I don't know if he's going to learn from that and learn to be a better person. And I think we can, if he can, kind of realize that, oh yeah, I kind of did some shitty stuff and knock it off at least, and knock off it's the double standard. And I don't want to re-educate him. I don't want to force him to apologize. That's the big thing. It's like, I don't want to be forcing anybody to apologize. I don't want to be forcing people out of their careers like these other people do. And there's a big difference. And that's how you know if you're on the right side of history. Do you want to actively destroy lives? Or do you want people to just kind of, okay, can you just suck it up and be a little bit better to people? Because that's kind of how I am. Just suck it up and be a little bit better to people. And if that makes me on one side or another, then whatever.
Treatment is the part that was kind of shocking.
Yeah.
It was like one meme that invoked the Holocaust to say we shouldn't treat each other badly is fireable. And the other meme that compares Americans, trying to deal with a problem of migrant children at the border to the Holocaust, that is perfectly acceptable to Disney Plus and Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
And then you saw
this
the
isn't really relevant
backfilled
anymore,
sort of
but-
post-facto explanation, because it became very clear to even a lot of members of sort of the traditional liberal camp that what had just happened to you was wrong. You had people like Jonathan Chait, who is a traditional liberal, saying that this is like McCarthyism. You had people who are traditionally liberal saying that it's a mistake, that it's censorship of a particular point of view, and that it was pretty obvious that you were being silenced and canceled because you were conservative. And so at that point, you saw the left swinging.
Now here I gotta interject again. This is what I was noticing with when they actively are, because I'm one of those people. I've watched the God's Not Dead movies as a joke. I'd watch the religious propaganda movies. I'd watch them as a Mystery Science Theater riff, right? And then when it actually starts happening, when you're like, oh, they're actually going after and silencing people, that's crossing the line. No, you don't do that. You don't do that. You mock people you disagree with. You laugh. You disagree. You say, oh God, that's a stupid opinion, and you move on about your day, about whatever you might have a difference of opinion of. And when you're somebody like me who comes out of this, this more. Like I said, I dipped out of politics 20 years ago, so if they had changed in 20 years, that's on them. But when you see this type of stuff, where you're like, okay, now why are you censoring people? Why are you how else are you going to mock them? I mean, they're not hurting you. Oh, you really believe that they are? How else are you going to laugh at an opinion you did? Because I want to laugh at all the stupid SJW opinions too, because they're also religious zealots. They're also crazy people trying to conform and twist your soul into something that they want, right? They
into action and start resurfacing old media posts and then declaring those anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
So this is when they resurfaced a December 2020 post.
Oh, I know Ben's
that was
done.
a meme of.
Oh, no, he is. But I'm just saying, like when they went after a lot of the conservatives, when they go after a lot of those sort of types, right? When they go after that and try and silence people for disagreeing. That's when I'm like, wait. I was always pro freedom of speech, pro whatever you want to believe. You go right. If you want to believe you're a Jedi Knight, you go right ahead. If you want to believe you're Napoleon Bonaparte, you go right ahead. You more power to you. Just don't hurt anybody in the process. If you want to identify as a fucking deer and play video games on Twitch, nobody's stopping you. Nobody is anti-you if I don't put a she, her in my pronoun, because I don't fucking care. Because let's be honest. How many times when you're meeting somebody, you don't even remember their fucking name, let alone their pronoun or their gender or their sexual preferences?
Essentially, a bunch of old men, no distinguishing anti-Semitic features, which we'll discuss in a second, sitting over a Monopoly board. And the meme said something like, and the Monopoly board is sitting on the backs of people who appear to be slaves. And the meme says something like, if they stand up, then if we all stand up, the game is over.
Yeah.
And the implication was made that this was an anti-Semitic meme and that you had known it was an anti-Semitic meme when it was posted. So I want to give you a chance to explain what you were thinking when you posted that meme. Because
I've seen that. I've actually heard people like Tim Pool talk about, hey, if they all just stood up. I had no idea it was a meme that was, or it originally was an artwork. He explains to her how it was originally this art piece that had very, very Jewish stereotypes, and it was very anti-Jewish originally, and the one she posted was not. Having very similar experience as she does, having zero interest or care about political people and issues like this, you wouldn't know. You would just see, hey, here's all the corporations that we're actually more powerful than in a group. And I think that's what she was meaning, that if we all stand up and flip the table on these people, all of us against the corporations that are trying to control everything, that are trying to run everything, that are trying to play us against each other, if we all kind of joined together and stood up, we're stronger than they are. We're a lot stronger than they are. We actually have the power. There's more of us than there are of them. And the fact that they're trying to turn us on each other is just disgusting. And I've never heard until I saw this yesterday that meme was actually anti-Semitic. So I can totally see why she would not understand the original version of it that she didn't even post. The original version of that with all the people with the Monopoly board and the table.
For those who don't know, the history of the meme itself, it was a meme that was posted by allies of Jeremy Corbyn, essentially in Great Britain. The original meme had very Semitic featured people who's fairly obviously anti-Semitic.
never
It had,
heard that.
Characters essentially from Der Stürmer, the Nazi newspaper with the hooked noses and the beady eyes and all this. This version that you posted didn't have any of that. So if you were not very deeply into politics, it's very difficult to imagine that you would even make that connection.
Right. And so usually I like to post think pieces. And what I found is those are what get me in the trouble the most, because that's when everybody starts putting their opinion out there. It's like, like the last posted, they were like, oh, look what she said. And I was like, why don't you guys do your homework a little better? Like, it doesn't say Republican and conservative in that post, And so when people started saying that the game where if everybody would just stand up, I thought that once again, I thought that was something that we could all join in on. And I had no idea, obviously no idea that
the hate mob doesn't
that
think. You're
the
right.
original one had been, I didn't know who those men were, but then I saw what they were saying, and then I saw the post and I saw the picture, and they were two different pictures. And so I really didn't know. I'm like, okay, so do I take that down? Like, do I take that?
Taking it down would just be admitting guilt. What you do, or for me, sometimes I'll take something down. Like, I'm not arguing with these assholes anymore. I'm tired of this shit. And then I come back with them like, you're bullying me over a tweet I deleted that you misinterpreted, that I didn't want you attacking me over. And that's what it really feels like to me. That's what it seems like to me, is that they get mad with what they see in their own minds. They see their own hatred and their own prejudices, right? And they don't understand, and they get mad when they realize something, and they imply and they insert, and they're mad that you're not as politically educated and activated as they are. And that's why they go immediately to, you're on this team if you don't know and think and read all the stuff that we react constantly, which is forever changing. And that's a perfectly reasonable thing to say, hey, there's more of us than the big corporations that are playing us as pawns, that are playing us as games. Perfectly reasonable. And if people are interpreting these things from these Looney Tunes crazy perspectives, that's clearly on them. That is clearly on them. We got an F in chat. Oh no, we got an F in chat. What for? Since the version that she posted has no anti-Semitic images, it can be seen as... What are we're effing? Where are we effing? Okay, refresh. Do we refresh? Maybe OBS crashed. OBS crash. That doesn't look like it crashed. Here, let me look. Alright, it's fine now. It's back. The F isn't that bad. Okay. We're back now. Sometimes when I'm recording on OBS at the same time, it'll start crashing out on me. If I record for more like a half an hour at 1080 60 frames. All right. So I think that's all we were really gonna tackle.
When it's not the same picture, but the origins were, because the idea in itself is that if we all join together, once again, like my other one, if we all join together and stand up, if you really go through what I'm posting, I post something because I want people to think, and I want to hear what people have to think. And when people are calling me, I've been called so much. Like I've been called racist. I've been called transphobe. I've been called homophobe. I've been called now anti-Semitic. And I'm like, I don't take those lightly. Like, you're calling me, my soul, the blood that runs through me, you're calling me that. And I blocked so many people. I'm like, you say that once to me. Like, you're done. I don't want to talk to you ever again. I don't want to see you on my feed. That was a lot of blocking.
I've done that.
They're like, oh, she's got a blockchain. And I'm like, no, I'm doing it. Like, I'm pissed. Like, you just insulted me.
I will go through and block every one of these bot accounts. Like, if I get a swarm or a hate mob, I'll go through and see who follows them. I'll go through who their followers are. I'll go through and I'll block their followers and the people who they follow even, right? I will block every single one of them because I don't want to hear what they have to say. If they look like they're a Brie bot, if they look like because they're not going to give me any actual conversation. They're not going to discuss anything with me. The one time I had one discuss it with me, I'm like, why am I being blamed for what Every other channel has said, why am I the one who has to be the harshest punished? Why am I the one who is the one who's... And I've talked to one of them before, but most of them are just going to say, you're an ist, you're a phobic, you're a this, you're a that. And that's just noise. That is just noise from these marketing accounts that are just there trying to make you feel bad. Just they're trying to hurt you. And I don't deal with that shit. And I don't deal with that. And I block them, and I block them all. Because I have time to do that.
And my heart and my soul, because I honestly do. I've gone out of my way. I know everybody on the set of Mandalorian or any set I've been on, my actions towards other human beings have spoken for themselves. And I'm not a perfect human being. I have so much to learn, and I am going to make mistakes. But I know everybody on that set, and I know that even the people that were gunning for me, like, I know that so many people have met me and worked with me. I know that's why we might be seeing, I go out of my way to make sure. I am the one that on sets people come and cry to. I'm the one that sticks up for someone if they're being like, hey, this is enough. This person needs out of this. Like, they can't breathe.
Like a mask? Like they need out of the mask and they can't breathe? Like they need out of the, like, did she defend Pedro when he was upset about the mask? This is one of the things that I'm seeing in this. Did she defend Pedro because he couldn't breathe in the mask? And that's why he wanted to take off the damn mask, because he couldn't breathe in the thing. I'm wondering. Calling you, and thank you so much for the super chat. Funny how big business loses interest in activism as soon as it hurts the bottom line. I called them out when they had all their hashtags in June. I called them out with that. I'm like, this is just a trend to jump on a bandwagon. They don't actually care. They're not actually going to help you in any way, shape, or form. And what are they going to do? They're going to use you as a pawn to get some little traction on their own company. There's a reason why that We at Brand a meme is a thing, that we at Brand feel that your cause is worthy of us speaking of.
And I've always been like that. I've stuck up for like minorities everywhere. I've gotten in fist fights, I've been in actual fights growing up in Las Vegas because I cannot stand bullying. And so, yeah, I think I just wanted people to think. And I put up something, and people were putting their own perspective and spin on it. And then they put words into my mouth that I never say. And then, then they start, then it starts trending in all these, these big newspapers and news articles. And you're like, do you know me? Like, get to know me. Like I told, they're transgender people. I was like, let's talk. I'll look you in your eyes. You're not gonna feel hate. I promise you.
So in a second, I want to ask you about the decision to come work with us, because that's obviously something unique. It's never been done.
All right, I think everything else is pretty much all of her projects for the interview here. Oh, and he's doing another commercial here. And how is a lot is like her backstory about the movie that they're gonna do. This is pretty much all that was relevant to Mandalorian, to Star Wars, to everything. If you do want to check out all of their video, definitely check out the whole entire thing. This is what happens, though. This is what happens. These people will put words into your mouth. They will put words into your mouth as an actor, or a personality, or a Twitter user, or anybody. They will assume and allege you say something. And what happens? Here, I'm going to make myself a little bigger. What happens? They will swarm you based on what they think you said or what they said you said. And the first time you get that, it is overwhelming. It is overwhelming. If you're somebody like me, I fight back. I do not sit there and let somebody come right to my face. If you're going to talk shit about behind my back, I don't care, whatever. But if you're coming to my feed, if you're coming to my post, if you are using whatever clout you have with whatever blue check mark you have or whatever power you have behind your following, to say something that I did not say and demonize and ostracize me for something that you imply that I said, I'm going to fight you. I'm going to fight you, and you're not going to like it, because I don't want to lose, and I like to win, and I like to be right. And when you're just a normal, regular compassionate person, right? When you're just a normal, regular, average person who doesn't have a lot of hate in their heart, who doesn't have a lot of anger, who just is going about their day, and you say something and you misstep. It is devastating to have that swarm on you of people you have no idea who they are. They're all of a sudden slamming you with a political affiliation. They're slamming you with an identity you might not be a part of. They're telling you voted for a way that you might not have. Or they're telling you all of these things about you based on the stereotype that somebody who says, hey, I don't like... I don't like the Disney Star Wars trilogy. Oh, well, you were clearly this, and this, and this, and this. It is devastating if you've never gone through that before. And you don't know what to do. And a lot of the time, like I heard somebody who this happened to was questioning, am I actually a good person? Am I actually anti-women for not liking Birds of Prey? Am I actually... And of course you're not. Of course you're not. You're not these horrible things, because this is how we know. We don't go to these people if they say they absolutely love something we hate or hate something we love. We don't go to them. We let them have their opinions. We let them live their lives. We let them have whatever beliefs and views. We don't go to them. And that's how we know we're the good guys in this. We don't actually go to them. We'll complain about it. Like for me, I do YouTube, so I'm probably a bad example for some of this, because I will make a video on how I didn't like how an actress or an actor shunned an entire group. I'll say that. But I'm not usually out there until after all this shit started, telling them that they need to be fired or canceled or never work again or any of that sort of thing. I'm not going to their threads. If I'm saying something crappy about a Mary Sue article, I have them all blocked. I don't want to interact with them. I don't want to have a fight with them. I don't want to dehumanize them. I want to complain about a stupid article they said, and that's it. And that's it. And I want to move on. And that's what I do. And that's what I do. I like railing on things. I like railing on stupid shit. I like railing on bad movies and bad TV and bad video games and bad marketing and advertising. Like marketing and advertising are kind of one of my bigger passions on the channel. You guys probably seen all the little short commercials I do here. And I like calling it for what it is. You're using this manipulative technique and tactic to sway opinions for what? Brand loyalty? For a bottom line? That's not working, is it? It's not working, is it? When you could have more money. You could have more money by making your viewers happy and your customers happy and staying out of this. But we haven't been able to do that lately. Everything has been so politicized that if you want to stay apolitical, you are pushed over to, oh, well, here's all the conservatives and non-politicals and libertarians and classic liberals, because they're not far left enough. And that's what happens, is that you get pushed into a group. And pretty soon you're going to realize that group is like 75 or 80% of the people. And only a tiny little group of people are left because they pushed everybody else out. And they've taken over and they've thrown the biggest temper tantrum. And people are like, you know what? I'm tired of babysitting you. I'm going to go back about my life and sure, whatever. Yeah, fuck your guy. And I'm going to go be on this team now because they're not as passionate. They're not as angry. They're not as aggressive. They're not throwing the biggest temper tantrums in the world. And one of these days, we're going to stop letting the people throw the biggest temper tantrums in the world run the show. We're going to stop letting the people who actually are out there trying to hurt people be the ones who are listened to, be the ones who are catered to. Because what does that do? It just pushes the rest of us away. It pushes us to find new things. What do? I stopped complaining so much about Star Trek and Star Wars. And I started doing cooking and gaming streams. Because, seriously, if I'm just going to get the same BS rhetoric attack on a daily basis from the same 5 people who are still stalking my account from 2 or 3 years back, then they're just going to force me out of this, and they're just going to have more and more of us just turn our back on it. They're going to have more and more of us tune us out or finally stand up and say, enough already. Shut up. We're tired of hearing from you people. We're tired of hearing your bullshit garbage hate. We're tired of hearing how much you hate everybody and how bad we are because we were born. We're tired of hearing how bad we are because we were born with a certain ethnicity that you think is better than everybody else's. Guess what? We're tired of hearing your bullshit. We're tired of hearing about your race, your gender, your identities. What's your fucking name? What's your fucking name? That's the thing. I don't want to hear 27 other fucking unimportant things about you before I know your goddamn name. Because guess what? I'm not going to remember that either. I'm not going to remember that either. How many people in our day-to-day lives, you just want to, can you just ring me up at the grocery store already? Can you just bag my groceries like a human? I don't need to hear what your pronoun, your gender identity, your preferences. I don't want to hear any of this bullshit. I don't care who you voted for. Bag my groceries. Fill my coffee order. What's your day like? How are you? Who are you? Do you have pets? What do you listen to? What's your favorite flavor of ice cream? Can we go back to human interactions instead of this bullshit that nobody actually gives a fuck about? That's what I'm so tired of. I'm so tired of it. Can you talk to me like a human being for one goddamn second instead of a fucking label? Oh, and I'm a this and this. And I don't care. I didn't care what your fucking horoscope sign was 30 years ago. This is the same shit. They prefer soy ice cream. Pronouns suck, Elon Musk. Steve says, damn, I love humans. I am an alien observer to your world, and I view all humanity as a bunch of bipedal organisms that are still flinging shit at each other. We're still flinging shit at each other. We really, really are, and I think we might need to stop it. Also, don't put glue in your hair. That should be pretty self-explanatory. It's for gluing other things together. Hairspray is for hair. And then the rest of this just gets into her background in MMA fighting and what her film project's going to be and all of these things. So which I should have done while I was recording. And why didn't I do that? Because I'm dumb. And of course, the rest of this is just getting into her background as an MMA fighter, what they're going into for her film that she's producing with Ben Shapiro. Because if she was such an anti-Semite, I'm pretty sure Ben Shapiro wouldn't be hiring her, and he might be a little angry with her for something if she was hateful towards him. But I don't see that as happening because, as we know, the world isn't what a couple of crybabies think it is. It's a lot more complex than that. We're a lot more resilient as a species than I think people want to think we are right now. We can go through a lot. We're a lot tougher than I think people realize. And we're a lot stronger. And there's a lot more of us than there are the crying, screaming outrage mob. So tell me what you guys think in the comment section. When I clip this, I have no idea how many videos it's going to be. It's at least going to be 1 or 2. We're at least going to do the Saturday Night Live one, and then we're going to dissect this interview. It is my good buddy Jesse Miller's birthday, so I'm going to wrap up my video recording portion of this. Sent you a DM on Maria Sirtis. You might want to look into it. Was it about her, was it about the thing? I probably already did a video on it. Yeah, I already did a video on that. Now that you say it, and thanks so much, Jeffrey Turner. Yeah, I already did a video on that. I had to tie it into the Gina stuff. I had to. All right, let me find it. Let me find his stream. We're gonna find his stream. Is he live? Is he live yet? I don't know. So I want to squeeze this one in. Definitely watch the Ben Shapiro interview, the whole thing. I don't want to just take his whole video. That's why I was like breaking it up and stuff like that. So thanks for the dose of common sense. Sorry I got here late. Booger 4 and 4. Oh, well, thank you. I'm always reminded of Revenge of the Nerds. I'm always reminded of that. So here's Jesse. He's got a whole crew. He's got Tina on. He's got Pete on. He's got Tom from Midnight's Edge. You guys know Tom from Midnight's Edge. So it's my buddy Jesse's birthday here. Do you guys want to raid him? I'm going to need to clip some of these things. And I know we have 300 people watching, so thank you guys so much for hanging out. I know you've got a lot of great entertainment choices for our entertainment needs today. And I feel shitty for wrapping up so soon. I feel shitty for wrapping up, but I also don't want to stream on top of Jesse because it's his birthday and I wouldn't want people to do that to me. So let's raid. Let's bring 300 people over to Jesse's stream. Can we do that? Bring 300 people over. He's been doing a lot of music reactions. He actually has a background in music theory. So when he does music reactions, he knows his shit. He knows what he's talking about. So you got Tom there. Tom, everybody knows Tom. You got Pete, my buddy Pete. So if anybody wants to check out Pete's channel is all paranormal, occult, weird history, everything out of the Bible that you might not know. A lot of the weird shit, a lot of the stuff that they don't want you to know. A lot of conspiracy. We can't say conspiracy stuff because that's what, then they'll ban you. But we can't say that. Andrew Helm, thanks for the awesome live stream. Oh, thank you. Thank you for hanging out. And yeah, he did a Type 1A review. He did. And he did one. I requested Phantom of the Opera. He still needs to do some Electric Prunes. I'm going to make him watch some Electric Prunes. But he did Hollow Earth last night. It was awesome. Right? But thank you guys so much. Well done. Thanks, chat. Well, stay safe. Well, thank you. I'm surprised I had so many people. If you guys like my content, definitely hit the subscribe and share this. I'll probably unlist this. I'm going to unlist this, but I'm going to clip it and edit some stuff together today for you guys for it. So hopefully my voice is going. So yes, happy birthday, Raid. Happy birthday, Raid. All right, Mecha Raid, happy birthday, Raid. I'm going to be hopping on that stream, too. So if you want more of me, I'm going to be hopping on over there with everybody. But Jesse Miller has been one of those people. He's always had my back. And he's always been one of those people, like, after meeting him in real life in Vegas with Tom and Rob and the rest of the crew that we met out in Vegas for the Star Trek convention, is like, there's some people that you just kind of click with as, like, okay, this is my friend, and that's my friend, and that's my friend. Can we get a jiggle? Oh, absolutely. We'll do a jiggle cam. Where's my jiggle cam? I know where my jiggle cam is. Jiggle. That's the jiggle cam. That is the jiggle cam. So that's the birthday. There's my buddy Pete. Oh, what's he doing? He's talking. We gotta see what he's saying.
Making zombie noises and shit.
He was also
real,
in a band,
dude.
so
I was
this is
freaked out.
my crew. This is like my circle over here. But thank you guys so much for hanging out. I am honored that you spent Sunday afternoon with me, and I'm going to be yelling and screaming, and I probably got to do some posing for some thumbnails. So before I hop in, but thank you so much. I will see you on the next video, live stream, or wherever. Check your channel notifications. I will be uploading today and tomorrow. I have an Aquaman video. I have no idea when that's going to come out, and I have all kinds of new things that I'm sure YouTube has not given you guys if you subscribe. So, but thank you so much. Glad I got the last 5 minutes. Silver Nova. Well, I'll be clipping, and then it'll, as long as you have it in your history, you can still watch it. I'll just unlist it, and I know I'm gonna get canceled for it. And I know it's gonna get demonetized because they said the word Yahtzee a few times, or the word that's like it. So, but thank you so much. I will see you guys on the next video live stream, and go raid Jesse's birthday stream. It's a lot of fun. Bye.